is that link working? I think so. Let's just share it anyway and see what happens.
So there's 3. So every team has 3. That's good news.
Yes, we've got a full lobby.
Ah, Mia is the same team as Iceman.
What, in esports?
Just off his GT name.
Oh, VQS. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
So, right, let me just double check this is actually up. Yes, we are. Okay. Hello, everyone. You just heard us natter about nothing for a couple of minutes, but we're here. We're in the final now of the Esports League, Season 4. So we're nearly at the end of Season 4. Winners tonight get a £100 prize, which is pretty big. I think that's the biggest one-off prize that we've given away in esports. And we've got a few teams that have a really good chance of getting that. So, Pyro, do you want to talk us through who we've got today?
Yeah, I believe it's actually might be the biggest single prize we've given away at all in the server's history. But as for people fighting for it today, we've got 3 teams, realistically, that stand a chance. One of them is a qualifying ban to serve during the qualifying in this session. But we'll start with, let's start with FGR first. So the guys
FGR?
the guy that is, well, potentially the closest fighters today. They're going to drive with Rabak, with Aura, and I'm not entirely sure who their third driver is.
I think it's Milius.
I think it is, yeah. Milius is joining, yeah, it's, for a couple of minutes. Yeah, so the third one is Milius. So Aura, Milius, and Rabak. We know that Rabak's got a good result in him, or a good result or two. He's done it in Tokyo earlier in the season. Aura always liable for a win whenever he gets the chance in that Supra. And
what? What? When did that happen? What? Hot snack?
That's caught me off guard. That has. But yeah, so and Milius has always been in and around the top 5 whenever he's raced for FGR this season. Second, the second team that are fighting for it are ERA. Now they're going to serve a qualifying ban. That qualifying ban will be served by ERA Luge, or Luger, depending on how we want to be how it wants to be said. This is going to be a great one all night. But yeah, he's going to take the qualifying ban, so he'll start at the back, and then they've got Jakey and Kaza as well, driving to try and get themselves into a position to overtake Falcon and FGR tonight, try and win that prize for themselves. And that leads us to that last team, Falcon. They've been setting up a little bit of controversy this morning with the driver that they brought in for tonight. So they've got Syndra, who is driving as a normal driver for them today. They've also, I believe, they have Jensen as well,
yes,
which is also... Jensen. Yeah, Jensen's also one that's pretty good bet for a win, let's be honest. Has been in his couple of races that he's done with us so far. And they've also brought in Mimu here, or Miu, however you want to say his name. And it's
I think it's Moo, according to Ahmed. We got a cow racing for Falcon tonight.
I would not have said that. Pronounced that very, very differently.
Why is BX rejoined as himself? I'm so confused. What's going on? Hot Snack. Oh, he left the room as Hot Snack and he's rejoined as BX. What is going on? Is Hot Snack his like after hours account or something?
Yeah, it's his GT. He changed his GT name.
Oh my god.
But yeah, yeah. So a new driver, supposedly extremely quick.
Well, yeah, I've been told that he's won
basically everyone.
Yeah, he's won GT World Series races apparently in the past and recently, potentially last night. So yeah, he's quick. He's in the DBR9 though, which is a horrible car. but maybe it's quick on a straight line. We'll have to wait and see what kind of lap times he pulls in, but he is 2 seconds down on his teammate Jensen in this practice session at least.
Yeah, we'll see how everything is about to unfold. This is a large track, remember, so a lot of areas for mistake, a lot of things that can swing left and right throughout the race as well. And the one thing to remember through this, Melissa just joined, is that it isn't over until it's over. It's a team championship, so then bringing in this driver here you currently see on the screen doesn't guarantee them anything if Jensen and Sindra do not have the day that they should have at the front of the grid here. So
yeah. And let's not forget we've got people.
Strong as your weakest link.
We've got people capable of winning. I mean, Aura could lead FGR to a win tonight still. Rabak and Milius could both potentially get podiums today. They're both well capable. ERA have, you know, these two guys that have been pretty reliable all season, Jakey and Kaza, and then their last driver, Luge, we don't know anything about. He's going to have to come from the back as well. He just hasn't set a lap either in the pits there. Have you been through Project Platypus yet?
We haven't. We've only just been done the top three, the fighting for the championship group at the moment. So Project Platypus are bringing BX. They're bringing Matty on what I think is his final race.
Before he joins FGR, yeah.
Project Platypus in this server, yeah. Before he joins FGR. And also Perry himself, the team leader, is joining us for the race tonight for Project Platypus. And then we've got Aero GT, who we said last week, but they are very much racing for pride and to be a spoiler. And they did that fairly well last week, especially with ERA. So they've got Owen, they've got, I believe it's Iggy.
Yeah.
And their last
is Fancy Locks.
Is Fancy.
Yeah.
Not too bad in his own right.
And he's in the 4GT, which, you know, even though people are saying there's been a bit of a nerf, it still looks mega. We're just waiting for Fancy, so let me give him a little message on Discord.
Yeah. It's, VQS versus FGR, nice, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be the VQS driver is driving for Falcon today. They're currently the leader of the championship, so I think they're going to have to go ever so slightly against them for things to land in the hands of FGR or ERA tonight. But we've got a race for what, hour and 40 something minutes here. There is a lot of time for things to go very, very wrong and for things to change all the way back. So we are very much in the business of it is not over until it's over. And
Jensen going a little bit on the curbs there.
What's going to happen?
Yeah, well, let's make some predictions heading into quali while we wait for Fancy Locks to join. I just saw that he said to the Aero server he's late. So Jensen is looking pretty quick, and we're expecting Moo Moo to be quick as well down in 6th place at the moment. But I think he's just mainly been doing outlaps here, so I don't think we've seen everything that he could do yet, and that'll come out in quali. I think those two will be in the top 3, and I think Aura will also be in the top 3. But as for what the order will be, I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, Aura has been messaging me during during the night last night. Actually, it was seemingly like he was doing a bit of practice. He was not very confident in his pace whatsoever at that point in time, and I can only assume that probably against his own team. In practice, so I'm not going to go over here. I am, however, going to say that Rabak ends in the top 3 here.
Okay.
In qualifying, and we've seen it happen before with Rabak. Tokyo was an exceptionally good race for him, just inside out from start to finish. And I think he's got enough in the tank to do it again. But I am going to agree with you with the other two. I think the other two are going to be very formidable to try and separate today.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, they drive on the same team, so that's an even worse situation for them to be in. But yeah.
Okay, Fancy Locks has said he will miss qualifying.
Fancy Locks has said he's missed qualifying, so technically he starts on the back then.
Yes, he's going to have to start in last place. Okay, let me tell everyone we're going to be starting soon.
Yeah, I guess he starts in 15th, not showing up then. In the other
Wherever GT puts him compared to Luge, who's not going to set a lap. Yeah. It's kind of potluck as to which order they'll be in. Oh my god, he's joined. Someone's joined. It might not be him.
So much for being late.
Oh, it is him. Yay!
FGR currently in second, I'm pretty sure. Just responding.
Alright, I'll give him a few seconds to select Aero settings, if he has any.
It looked like he might be coming in without practice.
He said he's forgot that it was a different time.
Yeah, we moved it a little bit earlier because we go a little bit longer in the final 2 races. Double points on up for grabs as well, same as last week. So we go a little bit longer, and to make sure that people aren't racing into pretty much midnight their time on the rest of the continent.
Okay, let's get going.
We kind of just start half an hour earlier to make sure that doesn't happen. But we had to wait just a little bit so that Fancy Locks and Millis could join us. Millis just coming off his own endurance race, I'm pretty sure. So we might be seeing a bit of a rough time from Millis tonight as well. Even though he's going to be extremely warmed up, one of the two.
Yeah. It depends how much practice you need. Obviously, this isn't one of the more well-used tracks on GC, so it might take a little bit longer for everyone to get up to speed. Everyone leaving the pits now. It doesn't look like Aura's actually first.
It might be now. He's just driving around everyone.
Everyone's going pretty slow. Kaz has got a 3-second pen. That won't matter. Right, let's just finish scrolling through until we actually find out who is at the top of the field. It's actually Jakey, so ERA, and then Owen just behind him, and then Kaza, who's got the penalty to serve.
And then a Project Platypus car by the looks of things. I didn't quite see which one that was.
Yeah, no one in... Well, actually, yeah, let's stick with Jakey. ERA are in 3rd place in the standings. Got a driver serving a quali ban in Luge, who's a new driver for them in ALR. So it's on Jakey and Kaza to set the standards. I think Kaza's qualified P3 for Largo, so he's good for a good quali lap. But I can't remember Jakey.
Can't leave the pits. That's not good news. Not sure how to deal with that.
Me neither. Never seen that before. Jakey's not actually the lead driver anymore in this pack. He's letting everyone overtake.
Are we going to have to bring this back or no? We've only had a minute. No one else has actually started their stuff.
Normally we don't reset for a single driver. But that's your call.
Need a quick, yeah, people are saying that they need a quick restart. I mean, it is a championship kind of level, that one. It's first, I remember Millis had done FGR. Whatever we're going to do, we're going to have to do this before they reach the line. Millis is, someone is sideways in the pits. I'm not entirely sure where they are. Is this them coming out now?
Luge's in the pits, Fantasy's in the pits. Milius is out of the pits, so I don't think it's necessary.
There you go.
So yeah, good job he's managed to fix that. No issues there. Let's follow BX. He's now at the head of this pack, which has changed hands a lot. Some drivers choosing to push on their outlap. Looks like BX and Owen are not wasting any time. I think Kaza is going to link up with his teammate Jakey, probably to potentially do some slipstreaming on the hot lap, which I think there's quite a few straights on it to be able to do that if you could stay close enough. Hello, Ruppy, nice to see you.
The one at the back straight that we've just gone through, watching on board with BX, that's the big one, the slipstreaming area of the track, which for everyone is a little bit annoying because it's halfway through the lap, and this is a, what, 4.5 minute lap? I think. So yeah, they've just got a bit of a rough go of things.
Ahmed, it's Fancy Locks who's still in the pits, so I don't think he's well, there he is. I don't know, he's not said anything in the chat though. Milius is out on track, so he will be setting qualifying laps. So we'll keep going now. BX just coming through to start his hot lap. We are a third of the way through qualifying already, so we're just going to get 2 hot laps in for everybody. Not much time for them to improve. We are going around a really tricky first turn, which you can take flat out. You should be taking flat out before a really heavy braking zone into turn 2, which BX seems to take really well. You can easily go into that barrier on the exit, especially if you're side by side with somebody else. Looks like the ERA boys are deciding to pit and put on a new fresh set of softs, so that's an interesting strategy.
It means they're going to get one good shot at this at the end of the qualifying session. They're going to have one chance at breaking that kind of lap time that they're going to need. I still cannot believe where it was brought up to me, it was made aware to me last night that people can wall ride through that turn 2 and gain time. That's still absolutely insane to me.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I'd like to see someone try it and A, not get damage, and B, actually gain time on somebody doing it.
I wasn't even anticipating that kind of problem, but we've put something out against it. They all know not to kind of get themselves in that situation. So
yeah,
the first couple of laps is just everyone feeling each other out by the looks of things. It might be the case. Maybe he's trying to get rid of some of this gas. He currently got in the car some of this fuel. We'll see how it unfolds later on in this qualifying session. But yeah, I'm very intrigued to see what he can do with this DBR9, honestly. Because it's not a good car. It hasn't been a good car for a very long time.
we say that, but there has been a recent BOP update, and maybe it performs with a little bit better, at least, with all of the other cars having a bit more weight on them in comparison. Apparently it takes the corners well, but it's not got the best straight line speed. That's what I think Eli said in the chat. So, I don't know. Maybe it's really good in that you can get a lot of pace around the corners in it.
As we will figure that out. We'll see what realistically the times are going to be. But I am very intrigued to see the spread in qualifying now, because the spread has been relatively
Something's
close.
happened to BX on this lap. He's now behind a bunch of drivers, including Matty, who is on his hot lap.
He isn't going up above third gear either, so he's obviously backed out of his lap to some degree.
He's burning fuel, so he must have thought that this wasn't a lap worth note. That means Owen is now the lead driver of the pack, ahead of Iggy and I think Rabak.
Yeah, that might be the case. It might be a little bit wide there for Owen if he tried to open up the corner, and a little bit of kicking up the grass. This final sector is quite a dodgy one if you get some of the lines wrong. It's not necessarily about the speed through some of these corners, but the lines to connect the corners together have to be spot on, otherwise they're just going to bleed time the entire way through. And that's what we'll expect to see from some of the drivers here. Owen's going to be the first one to the line round the first round the final corner. So what are we looking for lap-wise? 25, 26, 27, 27.6 is the first time set. Iggy goes over 26.6, an entire second quicker. Rabak 4/10 quicker than that. Oh, Matty just having a little bit of a slide coming out the final corner. Is he going to improve on the 26.2 that's currently on pole position? No, he is not. He is actually just about quicker than Owen, with Perry to the line now, who is actually about 7/10 off the back of everyone else. Syndra 27.3. So right now it's advantage Rabak. Over to the line, and it's already advantage.
Wow, 7/10 that was, by the way.
On his own teammate as well. Jensen and Mew Mew is
fancy out the pits. You know what I think he was doing? I think he was changing his aero during quali, and that's why his car was looking a little bit unique there.
Potentially, we'll see how they're going to go through. Miller's out late as well. Mimmer 26.8. So it's he's going to have to find a bit more time than that first lap. Jakey's going to have one shot at this. Looks like Fancy Locks is probably going to have one shot at this. Same with Kaza as well. So we'll wait and see what they're going to be able to do with this.
Oh, I can't find him. There we go, it was Jensen up into P2. So we got FGR and P1 with Aura, just a tenth ahead of Jensen. Then we got another FGR driver, Rabak. And then Mumu is actually in 5th place in the DBR9 after lap 1. 1.3 seconds off of Aura. So,
Something
yeah.
tells me there's time in that.
Let's see what he does when he comes through the next sector, because this is the guy that everyone would expect to be on pole, but he does have this massive nerf in the DBR9, potentially just driving it because he enjoys this car specifically.
Yeah,
he is purple though, by half a tenth.
Yeah, Ahmed, to quote in the chat earlier, was insisting that he drove literally anything else.
Understandable. Very understandable. Let's see where everyone is a little bit further down. So outside the top 8, you got Perry in 9th and BX in 10th. So the 3 Project Platypus guys all in the top 10. Milius down in 11th, hasn't set. Yeah, that's very, very bad lag. We got. That's not good at all. Fancy Locks is in 12th. Hasn't set a lap either, and Jakey's hasn't really set a lap either, and Kaz hasn't set a lap.
Millis on the process, and he was driving by himself. We might have to double check that lag before the end of this. But yeah, it doesn't look great. We're going through the rest of the guys coming up to the line now. Who's the closest?
Owen was first before, so he's still got a little bit. He's got a couple of corners left. This is going to be his last go though. It's the final lap. We've got about 3 more corners to go for Owen. He's looking for about 2 seconds if he wants to get to the front row. He's in the 27s. I think he could set time in the 26s, so that was potentially not one of his best times. He's in the Porsche as well, which I'd imagine would be quite a solid car around here. It really likes these long swooping corners. So him and then Iggy coming up just behind him. Is this going to be an improvement for Owen? He's in the... He does improve very slightly. What about Iggy and Rabak? Rabak doesn't improve.
Okay, so who's going to try and beat him? Or, well, who's the next one to the line?
We've got Matty, and then we got BX.
Now. So it's all 3 Project Platypus to the line now. From 8th to 7th goes Matty. 11th for BX, up to 8th. Perry, the next one up.
Stays 11th.
Stays in 11th, with Tindra next.
Up to 6th from 9th.
It's surprising. The FGR boys have not been touched. He has 3/10 of a second.
25 flat is absolutely crazy. Now,
next one.
We've got
Fancy Locks. We've got Jensen and Mumu still to finish. Mumu's about to come to the line, so we're going to get a pretty good answer to where his pace is. Fancy Locks is probably not going to go very high. The 30, 26, 26.4 is only good enough for 5th. Oh, it is advantage FGR tonight. Unless ERA are going to be able to do something here. 26, 26.6.
That's 6th place for Jakey. What about Kaza?
Is he going to be able to do it? 25, 26.6, 27.1 is only good enough for 11th. And it is well and truly advantage FGR right now, unless Jensen's got something in the bag, which he doesn't. He's half a tenth short. And it's Paul Aura. Advantage FGR.
We've got one more driver who's actually setting a hot lap here. Milius managed to time it pretty perfectly.
Is he going to be able to finish that
Is he going to be able to finish within the 3 minutes is the question. He's got 50 seconds. I think he might be.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close towards the end, then we'll get him to double check his lag. We might need him to reset real quick. But yeah,
I think he's going to time out.
The final sector, it's going to be close. He's got 31 seconds. He is currently 3/10 up. He's good enough to beat Rabak, but nobody else at the moment. He needs to find an entire second, by the way, to catch Jensen or Jensen or Aura. 1.1 actually to the dot would be enough to catch Jensen. That's going to be something that he's going to have to find in just over a sector, and I doubt that's going to be something he does as he
missing out.
His way to the line.
We got 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left, 1 second. It was going to be an improvement, and he timed himself out, but does it really matter? We've got 3 FGR drivers in the top 4. They get the 4 points for pole positions. Let me quickly add that to the standings. I don't know if you want to give Milius a message about maybe resetting his system or something.
Yeah, I'll do that real quick.
So that's the second pole position in a row in these double points races for FGR. That puts them on 429 points. So that puts them 12 behind Falcon, with a huge advantage in terms of grid position. Falcon's drivers are P2 with Jensen, P5 with Mew Mew, and P8 with Syndra. So all three of the top 8, which is still good, but a lot of work to do with regards to making some positions up. We got Iggy in there as well for Aero GT. He's in 7th. Jakey's in there for ERA. He's in 6th. And then rounding out the top 10 are 2 Project Platypus drivers, Matty and BX. Let's just go into the results screen and see who's making up the positions outside the top 10. So we got Kaza in 11th. Owen only 12th in his Porsche in the end. We were following him a bit in qualifying. Perry 13th in for Project Platypus, 14th for Fancy Locks. Really did not set a good time there on his one attempt that he did. And then we have Luge for ERA in 15th, serving ERA's quali ban, which I always think is excuse me, a little bit brutal when someone new comes in and they're the ones that ends up serving the quali ban. It always seems to happen, actually, when there's a quali ban, but you serve it as a team and it's nominated, so it's up to the captain and they have to be strategic with it, just like everything else in this series. So yeah, the new guy who potentially needs to find his feet a little bit will be starting in last place.
Yeah, I have sent Millis a message so let's see if we can get anything from him. I'll also tag Beatsport as well, who I believe should be watching.
So the top two, Aura and Jensen, both over 1.1 seconds quicker than everyone else in the field. You got one GR Super and you got one Nissan GTR in the mix there. That's just insane from both of them. Definitely have done their homework, and yeah, first blood to Aura, who you said wasn't going to qualify in the top 3.
Yeah, I should know better than to fall for the rules of quick people saying they're not quick at this point, shouldn't I?
Yes, you wrote him off because he's in the Supra. I know you did, and it's still good.
I say he wrote himself off as well. That probably
Don't
a
listen to the
surprise to him.
sandbagging. Don't listen to the sandbagging. I mean, I do agree. It has had a little nerf, but obviously still an insane car there.
Yeah, I'm very, very surprised at the level of the field spread here.
Yeah, the field spread is usually the top 15 in a league is separated by 7/10. Obviously, this is about 2 times or 3 times longer a lap than where we usually race. But yeah, over 2 seconds for everyone outside the top 9. It's quite big, especially for BX, who's been on pole position this season. Kaz has been in the top 3 this season in qualifying.
Yeah, that is true. I'm still trying to get a hold of Beatsports or a hold of Millis at this point in time, because I don't think anyone's actually telling them that I'm trying to get a hold of them. Hey, if you're in the chat and you're a part of FGR, can you get a hold of Millis for me? We kind of need him to
if we could get him to do a PlayStation reset or something to see if his connection improves for the race. That would be awesome. Yeah. We're willing to wait. Obviously, this is a championship fight.
We don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to actively have the one thing that's called the most carnage this season to be also part of the fight. We want to, if we can avoid, it would be great for us to avoid. Thank you, B. Yeah, I should have got him to do I should have actually got him to do a check beforehand. That is my fault.
I could also have helped by saying.
You probably could have, couldn't you? Someone checked he's here. Right, Millis looks to have got a hold of me.
Okay.
He's saying that he can't access his router right now, unfortunately.
What does that mean?
He's asking if he should reset his PS.
Yes. Okay, while you're sorting that out, let's
I've
just
told
go.
him to reset it.
Cool. Let's just see what actually needs to happen in this race. So, like I said, we got FGR 134. If they finish where they start, they are definitely winning the championship with this being a double points round. So, essentially, Mew Mew, or however you're calling it, needs to definitely get into a podium position. So maybe he's just finding his feet with the DBR9. Maybe this is the actual pace of the DBR9 compared to the other cars, which wouldn't surprise me massively. But yeah, he needs to put in a shift. Syndra definitely needs to finish as close to the top 5 as he can. He was 0.3 off of being in the top 5 in qualifying, so he's definitely got the pace to be right up there. We've seen him win how many? Maybe 2 races at this point in esports, so we know what he could do. The Gen X is super quick around here as well. Him and Milius should get off to a quick start off the line. I can't remember how the DBR9 is off the line. I think it's quite good though. The Ford GT is horrible off the line. The Lexus is horrible off the line. The Huracan's not too great off the line. And obviously, yeah, every car here, apart from the AMG, Luch could take a good number of positions off the line here, because every car ahead of him is either average or bad on a standing start. So that's quite promising for him. But yeah.
Yeah. So what... Yeah, in terms of championship... Luger isn't here, please kick, don't want to cause yellow.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
He's gone anyway.
Millis is doing it now as well, so we're just waiting on Millis to have a reset.
Yes, once he's back, we'll get going.
BX has just asked me if there's any chance of ERA gaming the qualifying ban. I've had this conversation with Ahmed before this race actually started as well. That
oh, I see what you mean.
Irrespective of whether or not this is to try to game the system, they're down to 2. It doesn't really matter.
Personally,
it doesn't really matter
if
at all.
It is, I don't care.
You're finishing at the end of the day.
Yeah, but also like, so what are we gonna do? Give them like another telling off? Can you be asked?
We'll figure it out afterwards. If they've done it, we'll leave that being
fairly clever. If that's what they were doing.
Yeah. Even if it is, they're still down to 2 people. It's not something I am concerning myself with at this point in time. We're just waiting for
unfortunately for them, they can't field 3 drivers for whatever reason, and it puts them completely out of the championship fight. It also means what I was saying about him starting in the AMG and overtaking a bunch of drivers. A moot point, because he was the only one who would get a good start on a standing start. So yeah,
it's going great for us, Ziggy. It's going great for us. Yeah, so that just leaves us with a straight shot, FGR versus Falcon, and I didn't actually do the maths before this, admittedly. What is the actual situation that is necessary? We might have to end qualifying and go.
I need to reset. I'll wait until he properly joins. I'll need to reset anyway, because I need to change the settings for the time progression.
That is true. You do need to do that. Is Ross breaking up for anyone else? I hope.
Oh,
not.
my let me just.
I hope not. Oh, he's just saying it's just eco. It's okay.
Right, I've just plugged my headset in. Maybe that'll help. If it is still crackly, tell me, and I can do something else.
But yeah, so what's the actual maths going into this for FGR versus Sainte? They just essentially 2 podiums will do it. Or what are we actually looking at mathematically for a team to win the championship here?
Mathematically, well, there's only a 12-point gap. So let me just set this quickly. I can't do 2 things at once. Time progression, what did we say? The time progression has to be 10 times.
10.
Yeah.
Time 10, yeah.
There we go. Sunrise time.
I actually did my job this time round. And sat in a lobby for an hour and literally 2 hours trying to figure out when it turned to 10:55 at night. So I have done my work for this one. I know last season I had a couple of people not particularly kind to me as a result of me waiting until 10 minutes before go time last season to do the same thing. But you know, here's what it is. So what are we looking at here? So the gap is currently, is it 12 points?
That's what the standings say, because there was a 4-point.
Post stewards.
Remember,
Post stewards.
Orange just got FGR 4 points.
Oh yeah, yep. No, you're right. So it's 12 at the moment. Need to go through and figure out the amount of points. I'm just doing quick maths for everyone whilst we set everything up. So how many points do they need realistically? How many points can you get? So it's 30, 27, 25. It's 4, well, that's doubled, isn't it? So 60, 54, 50. A lot. So the most points you can get on a double points round would be 60, 110, 164. So 152 is necessary. Which means a 1, 2, 3 is the only thing that can absolutely guarantee it without having to do any maths. From what I can figure out.
That was some good maths there, Pyro. I'm impressed.
Yeah, incredible maths. Incredible. Maths, probably almost certainly wrong. But it probably means I'm going to get told that I'm wrong in about 15 seconds. But
Shall we get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
Let's get started. Get your cold beverages ready. We've got one final round of ALR's Esports League Season 4 coming right now. Sainte Croix, layout C, FGR on pole, and with a great chance of overtaking Falcon here. But let's see what happens at the start.
Of course, hell, Melvin, as we go through. But yeah, Aero with Jensen on the front row. The second row, a complete FGR lockout before we see the new driver Mumu in 5th. Let's see if there's going to be any switch in the order as we continue on here. The final round of Sainte Croix with 5 red lights. As lights out, away we go. That didn't look the greatest start from the DBR9. It looked like he jumped it. But Sindra gets a good start anyway, which kind of recovers it for Falcon regardless. We've got 3 yellow and white right behind Jensen, who took the lead. It's Millis in second, who looks a little bit better as he starts. He's now into first as we go round turn 2. It looks like Millis on the outside. He's in the wall. He's in the wall straight away. And that is not a good start for FGR. It's Rabak in second. Mumu's got up in a third. Aura's in 4th. Aura dropped a couple. He's still got Syndra with him. So Syndra up in the 4th as well. Jakey in 6th, the first of the ERA boys that we've seen is involved in this race. Then we got Aura to the inside of Syndra. Looks to make a little bit of a dive. BX trying to get his nose in as well as he overtakes Jakey as Syndra gets a little bit of a clobber with the wall on the outside as we continue through to turn 3 in this race. And Matty's in 8th, Figgy's in 9th there. Jensen got away. Rabak in 2nd, Mumu in 3rd, and it's all of a sudden with a couple of laps in, with a couple of corners in rather, and we are already had one with the tide swing in the opposite direction.
Yeah, Aura getting a terrible start there from pole position. He's down into 4th now, behind 2 Falcon drivers and under pressure from the 3rd one. Great start from Syndra to make his way into the top 5, and for BX into the top 6 as well. Oh, Syndra nearly sliding into the gravel, but gets away with it. That ends that battle, but BX coming up behind him now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like BX is going to be able to get anything here. Again, just a little bit of an awkward exit. I have moved my mic back just a little bit because I wanted made the point that it was peaking. So I have moved it back a little bit, as you can still hear me. When I'm talking normally, Syndra and BX did a little bit of a bad exit there. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. I think it might be just moving to break the turn.
Here we go.
Rabak up ahead with Mumu trying to make some big stick now. They're going to the left-hand side at the end of the bridge, which should be advantage Mumu as he goes into 2nd. He got Rabak now with Aura right behind him, and it's now 1-2 for Falcon in this race.
What a start for Falcon. after what was not a great qualifying, they now have complete control of this race. Rabak's going to try and get a move done on this back straight. He's already going for it. And now we'll see actually how good the DBR9 is in a straight line. I think the answer's not very.
Well, this is what the GTR, I believe Rabak is in, and
yep.
it's not really been challenged whatsoever.
Here comes Aura.
Here. And there's the Supra, and that was the point you were trying to make earlier in qualifying, that the Supra in a straight line will still do it. Mumu might be looking to go back to the inside to fight this against Rabak. Rabak looks to try and stop it as well. They go side by side. Mumu still hanged it in there with a little bit of a slide on the exit. Rabak is still there as well. They're still side by side going through the car, through this sector here. A little bit of contact from Rabak as he tried to hold the position against Mumu.
He's off track.
A little bit deep. He's on the grass. He's still there. He's still ahead, and he's managed to hold the position.
So, a double overtake there for Aura. Fantastic bit of work there from FGR to work together to actually get that position back. But Mumu is looking pretty racy here. He hasn't given Rabak any breathing room. He's trying to find a way to pounce at some point in these corners, but potentially it's going to come on this straight. Now he's got some good slipstream there. And Aura's actually got away from Rabak, so he's not actually helping in terms of the slipstream. Rabak's going to have to go massively defensive here around turn 1 and 2, but Mumu's going for it. It's really tricky corner to negotiate. You meant to go flat out, but Rabak clearly had to back out of it. Now he's gone for it into the hairpin.
To the inside, a little bit of contact. I think Mumu hit the wall on the exit.
Through goes Jakey.
This is going to allow for Jakey.
That was a little bit naughty there from Rabak.
Rabak just didn't notice he was there in the slightest. Syndra looking to get himself involved. Now Jakey going after Mumu as well. ERA looking with their two drivers to play spoiler rather than win the title. But right now they're doing a good job, but Iggy's also trying to get himself involved with Rabak, and I think there may have been a little bit of contact in the background there with the Ford GT, but I'm not entirely sure if you want to replay that.
Let's have a quick look. Oh, it's not working.
Oh, the replay's not working.
The replay's not working.
That's a shame. That's a real shame. But yeah, Mumu still in third, Jakey in fourth. They look like a little bit of a contact issue there from Rabak, between Rabak and I think it was Iggy actually, down into turn 3, which kind of gave the issue for Rabak dropping another couple of places, and what looked like an incredible start for FGR, being 1-2 and being 1-3 and 4, sorry. And they're now 1-7th, and I think Millis is still right at the back of the grid.
Let's have a quick look at the back.
The exit there.
You got Kazza at the back on his medium tyres, so he's even behind Fancy Locks, who didn't set a quick time in quali, but he's still with the pack here. Owen and Perry still outside the top 10. Then we got Milius, who hit the wall on the opening lap, still looking not too great. Likewise, Iggy's in the wall. He's just lost 2 positions. He's going to lose a third to Matty now. He's got damage as well, so he tail slapped the wall there, down to 10th. And yeah, Perry's just a little bit too far back, but he might be able to get Iggy on the next straight, which is just about to come up after this right-hander, because Iggy's still got damage that he's nursing.
Yeah, he's also Perry's under 5 from Owen though. You can look behind, which is never a good sign in the slightest when you've got that kind of issue. And
his damage is gone. Maybe he's going to try and get Milius back here.
There's Gen X versus Ford GT. I think if you might be looking more towards Matt using the Lambo. Might be a little bit of an issue there. You got the breaking of the toe up ahead. Yeah. Rabak just peering out to see if he can do anything about it. Millis is now going to have to defend.
Iggy's going to send it.
I think Matty's gone very deep in the foreground. That might have been a little bit of something there.
They all made it through pretty well. And it looks like Iggy's going to get that position. They're still fighting. They have to go the long way around, and Milius gets the better line through there, and yeah, it shuts the door. Matty, meanwhile, did have a really good chance on Rabak just then. Not able to get the position. Iggy still battling with Milius around this infield section. They'll be losing a lot of time doing this, and that's why the 2 cars behind are queuing up behind him now.
Yeah, and that's Perry, and I think that's Owen as well. They need to be starting to head forward, not backwards. Perry on Iggy, which gives Millis a little bit of a break. I think Iggy's dropped the plates there to Perry, and now the two Aero GT, they're going to have to work together to get back against that against that Project Platypus car, and it didn't really take too long either. Iggy's just going to use that straight line speed and blow right by him like it does not exist. Owen's going to pull alongside now as well, as we now look towards turn 1. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Owen makes it. Iggy
if you're on the
makes it,
outside, you have to back out, and now Kazza's going to try and get him. Kazza up to 12th there. Perry's in the wall, and he does get damaged though, but he's definitely lost out that position now. Potentially going to lose out to Fancy Locks here as well.
Yeah, you can tell that net code a little bit. The car bounced off just a little bit abnormally there for Perry. But yeah, Kazza made a good move from all accounts on our screen. As he's up into 12th now. Fancy goes deep, which allows Perry.
And Perry gets the spot back.
There, Fancy.
Let's see what's going on at the front then. Jensen with a 2.5 second lead. This is looking very similar to last week, but the difference is it's Aura behind him, not his teammate Ahmed, who is going to try and keep him sweet. He is going purple as well on this lap, Aura. They've dropped Mew Mew in 3rd place with Jakey just behind and Syndra just behind him as well. Then we've got a little gap to BX, who's right in front of Rabak and Matty, so he's at the head of a bit of a train here.
Yeah, bearing in mind, I'd like to point out that the gap is currently 12 points at the front of the grid, so Rabak and Millis have to make these moves.
Yeah,
they have to get rid of Project Platypus here if they want to stand a chance, because they have to, at the very least, take a notch or two out of Syndra, who you can see in the background of the shot here, going up against, I think that's Jakey, who's currently bugging him and Mumu as well. And if Jakey can get himself involved and play a little bit of spoiler with the two Falcon boys, this race is far from over.
No, there's definitely a long way to go. These laps are incredibly long. We've got 25 laps still to go here. Rabak's got the run on BX. It's a left-hander if he wants to chuck it in. I don't think he's got enough in it this time. We've got another straight coming up right after this corner. Oh, and it looks like a much better corner there for Rabak. BX losing a bit of traction. The gap is less than 0.2 of a second. Taking different lines through the corner.
This is the main one. It's all about the exit out of this one. Who's going to get the better exit, because this lines you up down the straight. It looks like Rabak's got to run. He's got a nice little bit of slipstream. He now pulls out. He's alongside the X as well. It didn't take a long time for that to happen either. So he's going to go down the inside here and potentially steal this place off of BX. If he can get this place off of BX, then he has a chance to go after Syndra. But he has to realistically get this move done as soon as he can. He pulled out potentially too early. He's going to have to be late on the brakes here. He is going to be late on the brakes. He is on the inside. He is ahead. He is still slightly ahead before, squeezing the X just a little bit off the track there. Someone's been watching maybe a little bit too much F1 this afternoon. But yeah, he's still ahead of BX nonetheless. And I think Miller's got Matty as well.
Miller's
switch between the positions with the FGR boys and the Project Platypus.
Yeah, Matty's in 9th, 13 seconds off the lead now. Mew Mew is now starting to drop Jakey and Syndra. Syndra looks like he's fancies another position here, so we could see the 3rd Falcon driver in the top 4 in this race if he can get this move done on Jakey. Gen X we know is really quick, should be really quick around a track like this as well. 26.8, so he's 1.5 seconds off the quickest time so far, which is still sitting with Jensen.
Yeah, it's a large amount of straights this track. So, quite frankly, if you're Rabak, you need Jakey to be involved in this fight. Mind the boys face there. You're gonna have to have Jakey in this fight for as long as you can physically get him, because you need to get. If you're Rabak, you need to get back on the back of Syndra here. It is not necessarily paramount at the moment, but it is vital.
They've just completely caught Mew Mew as well in these last couple of corners, so I don't know what's going on there.
Sliding a little bit there. It's the DBR9 by the looks of things, and just hasn't allowed him to get away. Jakey's had a bit of a nice couple of corners as well that caught him up at the beginning of the lap. Rabak needs to get back up here. If Millers can get himself past BX, it might open doors for them both to work together to bring that to fruition here. And yeah. Or also at the same time, it's turning into 1v1 battles rather than anything else, I think. And that would be good if you're going to win those 1v1 battles.
Yeah. Let's just do a quick tyre check. It looks like everyone has started on the softs apart from Kazza, who's on the mediums. And that makes sense why he's dropped all the way down to 13th. Every other driver on the softs, Perry just touching the gravel there, doesn't seem to have affected him too much.
as Owen is still there with Big E as well.
Perry's actually dropped a couple of positions.
Yeah, Millis has cleared Matty by quite some distance now, and is right.
Millis might get BX here now.
Yeah, I'm about to say that he's going to chuck this in. I think he's not going to get to the inside. BX taking a very early defensive stance, which means Millis is going to have to round this on the outside if he's going to get him here. If I'm Millis, with the car that I've got, I wait, and I take this corner, this giant right-hander here, get a better line, get on the exit, and use that straight line speed on that Gen X and make this a very easy job down this straight. He's not really got a chance before that, and he's done exactly that. He's not even going to wait to get out the corner. And there's the position for Millis.
And there's the Gen X pulling away from the Lexus, which, there was a nice little drag race the previous lap when BX was battling, but you can't do anything about the Gen X speed here. So he's falling backwards a little bit, BX now, dropped behind. Oh, well, actually, I say that, but he's just pulled back alongside.
Millis again. That's interesting. I'm not entirely sure what happened for Millis there for him to drop back. BX is obviously going to be in the same position as he was last lap. Millis on the inside here, still going to try and run at this.
He's trying to hold it.
Be there. A little bit of contact between the two of them.
At the exact same corner we saw the incident on the previous lap as well, so that allows Matty through. So a good bit of fortune there for Project Platypus. Millis gets a half second for his troubles as well, which is going to drop him behind Iggy for sure. Where's the penalty line on this track?
I'm guessing it's down the back straight. I don't see why it would be down that part of the lap. Yeah, it definitely isn't down the front here, so we'll wait and see where it is. I'm 99% sure it's on that back straight. Millis isn't even going to waste time getting back past Matty. Just goes straight away.
Yeah, absolutely nothing Matty could do about that. But remember, he's still got a half second to serve, but this helps him in terms of not losing too many positions, because Owen's there as well.
It means it should just be a case of losing to Matty.
Oh dear.
Millis again! Deep at turn 2! And again, just maybe a little bit too much racing in one day for the same guy. Has got to him, just getting to him now. He did an endurance race before getting here, remember. So he's got to be feeling it at this point. He's now going to go to the outside, potentially to run this on Owen, who goes to the inside, keeps it, and getting close to the door.
Yeah, so closed the door well there. So 2 Aero GT drivers in the top 10 now in P9 and P10.
Yeah, that was a bad minute there for...
it was looking so promising as well, and then, just one corner can just lose multiple positions and give you a massive setback. So the top 2 are...
gone.
Yeah, they are completely...
gone.
Aura keeping Jensen pretty honest. Jakey 2 seconds off the back of Mumu, but still with Syndra right behind him trying to get the position.
Rabak hasn't made any indent, no, that's the issue. Rabak hasn't made any sort of indent on this group. Which at that point, is it actually Syndra being held up, or is Jakey just matching the pace? That's what I want to know, because there's nothing here for Rabak. Rabak's got no joy whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think Jakey's got good pace, and Syndra is potentially not quite there in terms of being able to get close enough to put in an overtake. You'd think 6/10 on the next straight he should be able to get a Lexus. This should be perfect if he can nail the next corner, but he's just lost another 10th.
I was about to say, he's not been pretty effective on these corner exits. You saw it both on the both ends of that bridge corner there. He hasn't really been able to do much. What's his tyres compared to that Lexus is probably a better guess. 6/10, 7/10 are now over 7/10.
Yeah.
He ain't getting that. What's the tyre difference between these two?
The tyre difference is identical, actually. Completely identical.
Interesting. That's, I thought that might have been swinging a little bit in Jakey's favour.
Same for Mew Mew as well. Yeah, Jensen's actually got the worst tyres out of the top 5.
Yeah, and he's been caught 4/10 of a second since the last time we saw this battle.
So that's interesting.
It was 3 seconds, it's now just over 2.5. So Jensen just starting to lose touch a little bit. And if he's going to lose that gap, then maybe there's something in this for Aura.
Aura needs to win, essentially, to give FGR a shot here with where everyone's positioned now. He needs to absolutely catch Jensen and overtake him. He's got the better tyres, so potentially might actually No, actually, they're probably all going to have to pit on the exact same lap here with starting on half a tank.
The issue that Aura's got now is that even if he was to win this race and knock off Jensen, right? That gap that switches between them is only, what, 7 points? 6, 7 points, I think it is. On the double, I think it's 6. Because it would be 20,
it would be a
30,
14-point swing
27.
then.
But in terms of from where we started,
I'll tell you.
6 points over the top of Jensen. And Jensen has the fastest lap point right now, so effectively...
It would be a 12-point swing in favour of FGR, this one position.
And then the fastest lap point, yeah.
Fastest lap point is going to be incredibly important as well, yeah, absolutely. 4 points there, not one. But Aura's continuing to gain. He's under 2.5 seconds now. So just keep an eye on that one. Let's see if there's any more battles going on. Rabak is catching up now. Under 2 seconds.
Yeah, definitely catching up. He's caught about a second since the last time we saw it. So Jakey is potentially holding up Syndra now. And that's good news for Rabak. Rabak needs to be in this fight because he at the absolute least needs to take this position off of Syndra. He needs to win the battle with Syndra here. And then if Aura can win the battle with Jensen, there's just about what happens.
Syndra's fuel saving, by the way. He is half shifting.
That's interesting.
Is it just to make it to the to the pit stop? Although he's got more fuel in than the Lexus, which you know is really good on fuel, so he could potentially jump Jakey in the pits. It depends how much fuel they both decide to put in as well. But if they go for an equal middle stint, Syndra might be able to jump Jakey in the pits.
We're going through here. They start on half fuel, remember, so they are halfway to 6 laps. You're looking maybe 12 laps total on a soft, maybe a little bit less on a full tank. Is this just going to be a rudimentary one-stop, maybe?
I don't think you could do one-stop. They've already done half a tank. It's been 6 laps.
Yeah.
You can't. So 12.
Yeah, right.
It's not good. It's going to be 3-stop, I reckon, for everyone.
Yeah.
So if people try and 2-stop, it's going to work out badly. That's my prediction.
Okay. Yeah. Just working tires out instead of working on the fuel as well. Yeah, 6 laps on fuel, 12 laps on a full tank as well, so roughly the length of a soft stint on the full tank. Mediums aren't going to really make much of a difference then at that point. So we will wait and see how the strategy is going to unfold then. As people are just going to pull as many soft stints as they can.
Here comes Perry.
Well, it's about time. He's had to try and fight back at some point. You see that's Millis in front there, who's just trying to get himself back involved with the car in front. Where Perry just getting to the inside of Owen.
It's an easy overtake. Is it too early again, like the previous one, though? Because now Owen's in his slipstream. Is he going to chuck it?
He's going to go. He's going to go.
He's lifted.
He is still going to go. A little bit of contact between the two, but Owen's managed that arguably perfectly with a very tight space. If he can hold on to this.
Yellow flag's out for somebody.
Who's the yellow flag?
Oh, look.
Oh, it's Mumu! Oh! Oh, that's not good. And he's out of fuel as well.
He's almost out of fuel, yeah. Everyone's boxing. Jensen's in the pits. We're going to see everyone pour into the pits now. We might see a completely different order, depending on how much fuel people put in. But yeah, the yellow flag's out because of Mumu making a mistake somewhere. And now he's dropped position to Jakey.
I would also like to point out how close Rabak is to these guys. And Rabak being that close is a really bad thing for Falcon right now. Can he get them both? That swing, he needs to get them both. Massive. That would be a massive swing.
1.7. Aura's jumped him. It was a 1.7 gap going into the pits. Aura has put in potentially, well, is it even a lap? Less. Maybe a lap less of fuel in than Jensen, and that's enough to give him the lead. They're both out on the softs. And Jensen's going to have to do some overtaking here, but he's feeling a little bit...
gone very deep there.
Yeah.
Not sure why Aura's moved out. I don't think Aura realised what Jensen did. He could have just kept this straight. Not really had to do much with the toe. Jakey's out in front of thing, and Syndra
Jakey put in the very little fuel. He's doing a short medium stint. Rabak's up into 4th place, ahead of Syndra, and Mumu's down into 6th. Rabak putting in less fuel than the Falcon boys, who look like they're doing the same strategy. So what's going to happen here? Are they... Yeah. Syndra is telling him, take the position.
Yeah. Tactical change. They needed Mumu up in front of him because Mumu is the better chance of potentially breaking a gap, which is insane given his car.
Yes. So
makes it very interesting now.
This this swings back into FGR's favour a little bit here because they're first and fourth compared to second, fifth and sixth. Let's see where Milius out in ninth as well. Iggy has dropped some positions, but remember, if they can stay close, they'll just jump them back again in the next pit stop.
Don't forget,
Matty
Iggy
outside the top 10.
Iggy also had issues with the spin on half spin, crash with the wall and the bridge a couple laps back. So that's also what contributed to that. I am very intrigued at the strategy calls now, because we are now seeing, at the absolute least, a different strategy between our two title rivals.
Absolutely. And remember, this is quite a short pit lane as well. So the three-stop isn't really... Yeah, both of them didn't take that corner too well, actually. So, but Aero took it a little bit better, a little bit squirrely coming out of it, but is about a second up on Jensen now. It's close to breaking the slipstream at the most important point on the track.
Aura needs to break this gap, because if Aura can build a gap here, he can swing this back, because he's obviously going to come back to Jensen later, because Jensen's obviously put in more fuel and all that. So Aura needs to get this gap as much as he can, negate that fuel later on.
Yeah, it's actually growing. So yeah, Jensen not enough in the slipstream here. Oh, now it's starting to come back a little bit.
It's gonna be hammer and tongs for these two the entire goddamn night, and I am so here for it. Rabak and Mumu as well. Rabak needs to beat these two, and then hope Millers can try. Because right now, what we're seeing is Aura beat Jensen, Rabak beat Mumu, and then Syndra beat Millers. The issue is that Syndra's beaten Millers by quite some margin at this point in time, and that's what potentially swings it back through into the standings anyway, back towards Falcon in what is a really, really close battle through this first 7 laps.
Definitely. Jakey on the mediums with Rabak, Mumu and Syndra on the soft, so they should catch him in the next couple of laps. The gap is currently 2.7. Jakey's looking pretty good on these mediums though. He's not let the gap shrink, so he's he's off to a flyer at the start, but let's see how long that can last when the softs get up to speed. Further back, Kaz is up into 7th as well with a huge didn't put in he only put in about a quarter of a tank there to leapfrog a bunch of people to do a short soft stint.
Yeah, you've got to remember at the same time that these guys are effectively just playing spoiler now. Obviously one of their drivers leaving early with the qualifying ban and everything like that. So they're not really in the championship fight. They're just trying to spoil it for someone else. And I'm very intrigued to see how Jakey does that, because he's going to be on mediums later on, where everyone else he's going to be on softs later on, where everyone else is on a medium style.
Look at the damage on Matty's car. It's just disappeared now, so he's made a mistake probably at the final corner. Now he's dropped 5.2 behind Iggy. So him, Perry and Owen all on half tank of fuel. Owen's actually on the mediums. All of them quite cut off from the pack now when everyone was really close together. BX and Millis, meanwhile, having another battle between the two of them. Oh my god!
Contact between the two of them there. Well, that's a bit an interesting way of defending it. I'll tell you that much. We'll see what it's going. We'll need a second view of that. Unfortunately, we don't have replay today, which is great.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
So that's a place of Millis. However you feel about that, and didn't quite get a chance.
He was already ahead. He was defending.
But yeah, he gets that place. He's up in 8th, and that brings him ever so slightly closer to Syndra. And what we were saying earlier on, where the fact that he's got to beat Syndra realistically. Yeah. If all of these guys, if all of FGR's team beat Falcon's team in their 1v1s, that in theory should be enough. Maybe need one to get a fastest lap in the process. But it will be extremely close if not.
Yep, all the FGR guys in the top 8, all of the Falcon guys in the top 6 as it stands. So
Aura and Jensen have just been in the exact same gap.
I might do a quick point standings here, actually, especially with Falcon taking the fastest lap here.
Yeah,
So we have first, fourth, and eighth, and we have second, fifth,
might be actually extending a little bit at the moment from the 12 points.
So at the moment,
of the race.
it's a 14-point lead for Falcon as it stands.
So it's a 2-point extension at this point in time through 8 laps of the 28.
If the positions stay the same and FGR nick the fastest lap at some point, the gap drops to just 6 points. So that means just 1 or 2 extra positions for FGR actually tilts it in their favour. That's how tight it is.
Yeah, Miller's getting Sindra. That becomes, if there is a fastest lap in the future here for FGR, then Millis versus Sindra then becomes the massive battle, doesn't it?
Yeah. So in the last lap or two as well, Rabak has actually caught about 9/10 on Jakey. Gap's under 2 seconds now. He's also comfortably ahead of Mumu, who's not really been challenging him that much, I want to say. Maybe he's just looking after his tyres or just chilling in P5 for now. He does have a lap extra fuel than Rabak. So that will come into play as well. Rabak will get an undercut.
Yeah. It'll be strategy. We'll have to figure out what the strategy calls are going to be. When it comes to this race, they paired about lap 6, remember, on the end of lap 6, on the first stint with half a tank, so they might be just trying to do the same thing again. And then they've got 16 to go from that point onwards. There's Jensen again, just getting himself a little bit closer to Aura. And
I think he heard me saying that they need the fastest lap. And he's like, right, okay, let's go.
I don't know if he heard you. I think more of the information may have been relayed from elsewhere. But yeah, it's a lot closer than it was the lap prior to when we saw this battle. Aura now chalked all the way from over a second down to 4/10 even. They lost about 6/10 on the start of this lap. These two are very clearly in a little world of their own though in this race. We'll see if there's going to be anything to add to this as we continue on. It's now 3/10 of a second.
They're getting close now.
This back extremely well in this lap. Millis is up past Kaza, by the way. I would like to point that out. Millis has gained yet another position. So the gap is shortened just a little bit more.
We're going to stick with this one for now, even though looking at the battle for P3, actually let's just see it very briefly. There's a huge snake of cars here. We've got Rabak, we've got Mumu, we've got Sindra not too far away. Millis is going to catch up to them. Kaza in P8, BX in 9th, and even Iggy in 10th. All within a good shout of a podium at this stage of the race. Aura's meanwhile just eked up his advantage back up to 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly interesting. It's going to be incredibly interesting to see this continue on, because now Millis has a clean shot at Sindra. And we were talking about this just a minute ago, that could, if a fastest lap is going to arise here for FGR, swing that battle.
Yeah.
That into what the massive focus. So Millis having a clean shot could be absolutely huge. They're going to have to take advantage of that right there while they have it. Jakey, if Rabak can get Jakey as well, by the way, maybe you give Jakey a chance or two to hold up Mimu.
Yeah, Jakey having a blinder here, got to say, he's doing really well. He's potentially going to get caught at the worst time in terms of how much slipstream he's given Rabak on this straight. Is he going to be defending it? Rabak's going to definitely send it.
He had no choice. He had to go for that. The issue is he's forcing Jakey so wide that might have opened the door ever so slightly for Mumu, who doesn't go for it, who's 6/10 back, and now Rabak needs to go. Rabak needs to go and not look back, because he needs Jakey to do a little bit of defending on Mumu and build that gap as much as he can physically get it in this process, so that he gets more to defend later on. So he's one focus. It has to be ahead, not behind right now.
So, by the way, with those two overtakes, Millis getting up into P7, Rabak getting up into P3, that puts FGR on 573 points, which is 6 points behind Falcon, which definitely means if the fastest lap changes to an FGR driver, that puts them in the lead of the championship, even if the positions stay the same, which it might not, because we might just see a response here from Team Falcon. Mew's trying to get alongside, he can't, it just doesn't have the speed to do it. Jakey's going to cover it off.
These two still going at it. Mumu looking to the inside. Backs out of it. Jakey might have still made the mistake though. Oh, he lost the car a little bit, but he somehow kept going. I'm not entirely sure how he hadn't turned over the nose of the DBR9 there. That's impressive.
Yeah.
From the ERA driver to keep that car in a straight line.
And once again, Jakey pulls ahead into the braking zone. Mumu's going to have to be really brave into the corner.
Inside. Still side by side. Still there. Mumu realizes he's still there. They're still going at it.
Oh, it was very tight. They left each other enough space. But yeah, advantage swings back into Falcon's favour. That puts them on 583 points. So that's 10 ahead as it stands.
I wonder, had Jakey gone a little bit later on the brakes, whether he had held that. Obviously, Jakey kind of had to pull out of it just ever so slightly.
I think he's pitting this lap as well, Jakey. He's not got much fuel left. Look how much more fuel Mumu has compared to him and Rabak.
Millis is right on the back of Syndra.
He has really caught up in that lap. Yeah, that's massive. So now we need to see another response from FGR. Millis trying to get back into the top 6. Remember, he started in P4, hit the wall at the very start, and he's been on a recovery ever since.
He might be about to make a massive recovery here. The chance is right there in his hands. If he can get Syndra, the gap is going to swing heavily the opposite direction. Oh, Syndra slides the car.
Nearly lost it.
Is the door open for Millis? Is he going to look to the inside here, or is he going to wait? They're both in the Genesis, so there is no straight line speed advantage. There is no cornering advantage. This is just driver skill. In this next couple of corners, Millis has a real opportunity to blow this wide open.
This is really in Syndra's hands here. He just needs to stay in the slipstream of Jakey, and he should be fine from an attack, considering that if Millis pulls out, he loses the slipstream advantage straight away.
It's all about that exit. It's all about that exit.
Syndra might actually get a position on Jakey here.
That would be a really bad sign for Millis.
I think he might have to attack.
Going to do the same.
I think he might have to attack, or else he's going to have to defend. Millis pulls out.
Here comes Millis. Are we going to get a good camera angle of this? Millis to the inside. He's still there on the inside of the back straight here. Millis is actually ahead into the corner. He goes a little bit deep, but he has the place on Syndra, and that may have just blown this wide open.
Now, the gap is 2 points. Falcon has a 2-point advantage as it stands. With that one overtake.
Jakey is the next fight forward, so, and then Mumu after that. So all 4 of these drivers from the 2 teams just absolute mammoths going at this one in the final race. They're all there. They're all within, what, 2-3 seconds of them at absolute most. And then obviously Aura and Jensen here. Jensen's actually taking the lead.
Yeah, Jensen's taken the lead. We've completely missed it in all that. So that, once again, tips the scales back into Falcon's favour. That puts them a massive 14 points ahead of Aura, but Aura's going to try and take him back. Let's see what he can do down this straight. Yeah, we can see Jakey's going to put in quite a lot of fuel here, so he might drop to the back of that pack, but he's going to get an undercut. Jensen already going defensive quite early on. Aura's going to try and get the inside anyway.
He's going for it. He's gone for it. He sent it. He realizes there's nothing to lose. If you keep things on the table here, you probably are going to regret it later down the line. And Aura tried it, didn't get it. Jensen is going to take that lead back again. And to answer the question, I believe that the pole position points were added in at the end of qualifying.
Yes,
so it was,
I've already accounted for the pole position.
Yeah, so the pole position one I've already accounted for. So this is as up to date as we could possibly get it. As we continue to go through this, it's just going to bounce a few times still in this race. So he's got half the race still to go, and a long amount of racing to unfold. A lot of mistakes could still effectively happen, and there's one for Aura right there.
Yeah, he's falling back a little bit now. He needs to stay as close as possible around this twisty section before we hit the straights. But I just wanted to point out, top 6 currently are all from the leading 2 teams in the championship.
Well, as you can see, you would expect that to a degree. Jakey is obviously still there in terms of net position. He's come off his mediums on the last lap. So he'll be back when it comes to when these lot pit. But you would expect that. These 2 are where they are for a reason, and it is just those 2 for a championship right now. They have to be at each other's throats the entire race. They don't really have a choice. Everything's got to be left on the table. You can't leave something here because you'll regret it later on. So it is just got to be balls to the walls, realistically, the entire way through this.
Or I think clipped the inside wall a little bit. He's lost 4/10 on Jensen already. And that's going to continue all the way down to the straight. Something's happened a little bit further down. Iggy's lost a position with BX. They're battling, the two of them. Two multiple time tier 1 champions going head to head here for P7.
This is what, 20 drivers championships between them?
Yeah.
And what?
And 19 constructors. They've got some work to do on the constructors.
Just a casual 39 titles between the two of them on track right now.
Yeah, Iggy was coming under threat from BX. He's won the position back. BX has the slipstream into the next corner. He's going down the inside as well. He's got some great overspeed.
On a Ford GT as well.
On a Ford GT as well.
That's the car Iggy's in. And these two have been a very big pillar of this server for a long time, let's be honest. And we've seen plenty of battles between the two of them over the years. And right now, I think Iggy might be in a better position to win this one. He's got the inside line. It's another corner to the inside coming up. But now BX is going to try and stick himself his nose in.
That was great from Iggy. How did he keep that?
Yeah, Iggy got it. Iggy kept his nose, got on the grass just a little bit, and just, well, believed that he could get around and did so quite eloquently. Oh, then the penalty for Millis. Just as he got to Mumu as well. Oh, that could be crushing.
Or is Mumu holding him up to make sure that he drops behind Syndra with the second? No, he can't afford to do that. He can't afford to do that.
No, because he lets Rabat go in that scenario.
Exactly.
And he still has to focus. It's essentially just 1v1s down the grid. I know it's a team game, but at this point in time, it is just essentially how well you can do against the driver you're opposite. And right now, Syndra is losing to Millis. Mumu is losing to Rabat, and Jensen beating Oren. Kind of the only thing to hang their hat on. So they can't really let Rabat go here.
Absolutely. Jensen's still with the fastest lap as well. Aura seems to not have really kept up the pace. He's now 2 seconds pretty much back on Jensen. And he's definitely coming in this lap. He might be able to get the undercut done on Jensen in the pits if he has a great outlap and can pull back those 2 seconds. Unless Jensen decides to come into the pits now. If I was Jensen and I knew this, I would absolutely be pitting now just to cover off Aura from any undercut.
Yeah, it would be a very interesting choice. It's obviously they're doing a very different strategy to the FGR boys, remember. But it's a case of whether or not Aura is going to come out straight into traffic. That's the bigger question. That looks like a lot of gravel being kicked up by the GTR in front there. But yeah, Rabat is just building a little bit of a gap. You can see, and then Syndra just a little bit tailing off ever so slightly off the duo. So yeah, whilst Millis isn't going to get Mumu here because of the penalty, I don't really know if Syndra's close enough at this point in time to force an issue. That would be massive for Millis if he can take that penalty, still be in front, and have a clean shot of Mumu as well to go with it.
Yeah, 1 second is the gap, and a half-second penalty, which isn't actually half a second. It changes from track to track, so we'll see how much half a second actually penalises you around here. I'd imagine fairly shortly, because he's had that half-second penalty for about 10 minutes at this point.
Yeah, the penalty line is on this straight we're about to approach, right after the sector marker. So it is going to be very heavily hitting in this one. You can see the slowing down popping up on the screen now, so you know he's taking it on this straight. I think he might just about get overtaken here.
Yeah, the gap's 8/10 before he serves the penalty. This is going to be fairly straightforward.
Coming back, still there.
Huge overtaking coming.
There's the move, but it isn't going to be a large gap. It isn't going to be a large gap. You're going to use that slipstream straight back. He isn't going to go for the move to try and fight back against Syndra, but he's in a perfect position to take this back as soon as possible.
He is. But let's join the front again. Aura's gained 3/10. Let's see what happens with the pit stops here. Jensen's tyres are pretty bad there. Aura's slightly better than his.
It's tyres versus fuel at this point, isn't it?
Definitely.
Interesting call though, because if Jensen's going for another lap, his tyres right now...
He is going for another lap. Aura's coming in. So is Aura going to come out in traffic? That's the key thing. He's got a huge lead over everyone, but then everyone's kind of bunched together here. He could come out in this little battle. It's a very short pit lane, but it depends on how much fuel he puts in for this third stint.
Rabak's coming in, so you won't have Rabak to deal with, and I'm guessing Millis will be roughly the same, so you won't have Millis to deal with either. Yeah, so it's just strategy based right now. Who is it going to be, whether it's Falcon or whether it's Aura?
Falcon 1, 2, 3 at the moment.
Yeah, and it's based on the strategy. They're about to pit, and we're going to go back to where we were. So, quite frankly, it's going to be who's got the better strategy. It's not even going to be who's the better drivers on track at this point. It's just going to be who's got the better strategy, who can get this to the line without making a mistake. So Ahmed's calling for the bell.
Aura's put in half a tank. He absolutely, as long as Jensen doesn't massively underfuel, get a position on Jensen. Because look how tired his tyres are. Like, at the end of the lap, he might be on a slither of life on that front left. It's really struggling. So, something going on down in P8 potentially.
Definitely fit. As Kaza going by Perry.
Yeah, Perry getting overtaken there, but it looks like by Kaza. Yeah. So Kaza's back up into 8th. Not sure where Jakey came out. Jakey's back up into 5th. 17 seconds off the back of Aura, but he's ahead of Rabak.
As we expected him to be, which they were, well, almost.
They were pretty close before. That's the undercut working out. Yeah, that's the undercut working out for him pretty well. Again, he's put a lot less fuel in than Rabak. So he'll be coming in a lot earlier, once again getting undercut done on, but potentially at the end of the race, Jakey might be struggling.
The intriguing thing for me right now, right, because FGR seem to be set on laps of 6, right, so they're doing it on, they came in on 6, they came in on 12. They're going to obviously come in on 18, they've set that one.
Yeah.
If you're in that position, is it 10 to the end on mediums, or are you doing 6 and 4? Because then they do 6 on the softs again with 4 on the mediums at the end.
That's a good question.
Bear in mind, they only have to do 1 lap on the mediums. That's the rule. You have to run 2 compounds. You don't have to do it for a particularly long time. Just have to run them both. So how many stops are you willing to make here just to?
A full stop could be possible. The pit lane's really short. You could easily do that. I don't know if it'll be faster, but you could do it.
Everyone in the top, everyone in the 6 people that we currently have in the group between the RA and FGR all still have medium tires to run at some point in this race.
Yeah.
None of them start on mediums. None of them have gone onto them after this point, up to lap 13.
Apart from Kaza in P8, he's already done the medium, so it's looking fairly decent for him, who's in this little battle.
Same with Jakey. The ERA boys are...
Has Jakey been on the mediums? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he was on the mediums. He was on his last stint. But they
the last stint, you're right.
Yeah, they weren't part of the 6 I was talking about. It was just more focusing on the 2 teams fighting for the title, the FGR versus Falcon battle we currently have. They've got Jensen.
Jensen's in the pits.
Jensen, so Mumu and Sindra is going to follow them. So this is where we get to find out the answer. What is going to be between Jensen, Aura, and then obviously Rabak, Millis, and the boys for Falcon.
Yeah, how good was this outlap for Aura? How good was the in-lap for Jensen? That's what's going to be key here. Jensen has put in more than 50% fuel. He's up into 62%.
Same amount of stint again.
He's put in a lot more fuel than Aura. He is currently ahead, but there we go.
He's not going to stay.
Yeah.
I'm about to say he's not going to stay because he's got to get up to speed. And the difference is, okay, so the interesting difference we see now is that there's 6 lap stints for FGR and 7 lap stints for Falcon, which allows for an 8 lap medium at the end, whether compared to the 10 lap medium that might be required from FGR. And that might be where they try and come back on this. Mumu and Thing have come out behind Kaza, which means Millis and company are comfortably ahead.
This changes quite a lot for this stage of the race. They've lost a lot of track position there. They've got BX who's might try and get the position as well on them. They're both on softs, so I wouldn't expect them to lose positions. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have to recalculate what the standings are now, because they've definitely lost out to FGR in this pit sequence. Here comes BX.
Here comes BX to the inside! Is he going to get it? He's hanging it to the inside! Will the exit count? This could be huge again. We've said this a lot. As we go round, Sindra holds on by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah.
Neither of them looked like they had control of the car on the exit.
So 278.
Holding on for dear life.
278 for these lads, Falcon, and we've got FGR in first, in fourth, and in fifth. That means that FGR are currently 10 points ahead of Falcon. So these two especially have a lot of work to do. They got to catch Kaza pretty much instantly and overtake him. That's a minimum, but Syndra has already lost 1.6 on his teammate with the battling with BX, who's still very close behind him there.
He's still there, I'm about to say. Yeah. He's still definitely there. All it takes is one mistake for Syndra, and his race gets a lot more difficult through this. 2.2 currently the gap between Aura and Jensen. But now they have 2 laps in advance, so they have 2 laps better than FGR, and this is what the strategies are going to depend on, because I can only assume there's one more stop coming for Falcon here, and it's 8 to the mediums. It has to be. Anything less than that.
Oh, what's happened there?
Quite frankly, be pointless. Oh, wait, what happened to BX? Oh,
BX lost the position. He's got damage, yeah.
He's got damage on his front right. He's lost it quite heavily there, so he must have made a mistake heading into the bridge.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's on the entry into the bridge. Tricky corner. Trying to hold it with Iggy. There he goes. The damage is gone, so he might actually get Iggy on the straight here. We've seen him get the position on the straight versus the 4GT before.
Yeah. He's going to do it again here. He's going He's going to the inside. Yeah, definitely got it. I apologise for blowing anyone's headphones out, but quite frankly, we've had
don't watch this on headphones. Just use your speakers. It's gonna save you multiple years of your hearing.
I was about to say, we've gone through 8 weeks of this now. We should be at a mutual understanding by this point. I have pulled the mic away a little bit further from my headset, from my mouth again. But yeah. It's just interesting that ERA, with that lack of a third driver, I just hear play spoiler, they're playing it exceptionally well right now.
I know, it makes you think if they had Evo, if they had Nick tonight, they could have potentially at least nicked a second place at the championship if something happens.
They could have gone for this, quite frankly, because they weren't that far off to start with, and we would be talking at this in a 3-way fight. They would have had one person, obviously, with a qualifying ban, a little bit of a handicap. But, quite frankly, being at the back, what we've seen with Millis and everything, it doesn't change an awful lot. Oh, he has to get out of the way!
That was a little bit hairy.
Out of the way there.
Did well to avoid it, though.
Straight into the side of Kaza there. Yeah, you are right. Did very well to avoid the collision. But again, that's just going to bring him back to Syndra. Might in any way actually help him.
These two could get in the mix as well, BX and Iggy. They're not very far away from all these guys.
The OG to the server versus
the OGs.
Versus the young blood, I guess, is the way of phrasing that one. But yeah, these guys have just been off the back of this group in front of us the entire way through. BX, obviously, with his mistake at the bridge on the last lap, kind of hindering any chance he had at Syndra. Probably would have much rather had that chance at Syndra and get a couple of positions that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, these two are just driving away from Kaza. 4.2 seconds. Obviously, that continued ahead 0.6 of a second to Mumu as well. So the gap is about 5 seconds.
Yeah, Kaza's tyres are a lot more worn. That's why he did a much earlier stop.
Yeah.
So he's potentially going to start holding up the Falcon boys, which is going to be a disaster for them. Like I said, they can't afford to stay behind Kaza. Mumu's been stuck behind him for quite a while now. A little bit reminiscent of Lando trying to overtake Charles earlier today. He had the opportunity and kind of outbraked himself a bit.
We pointed out as well that obviously Falcon have 2 laps effectively in a pit on FGR if they've both gone to a medium tyres off this next pit stop, which I think they will, but I wouldn't be too surprised if FGR pulled an aggressive strategy there. But with that being said, I don't think you can count that 2 laps as a 5-second advantage to cut that 5-second advantage. Being
Here
2
we
laps
go.
on softs a bit more. I don't think that's a 5-second gap. I think they might be in trouble here. And with obviously Jakey right in front as well, if they can get Kazza just not giving this position up in any way, shape or form.
I mean, I don't think he's going to lose it, to be honest, because this...
The DVR9 in the straight line.
Yeah. Obviously, he doesn't trust 6th gear. He's still in 5th here.
He's going to try this. He's going to have to late brake on the outside. He's going to have to go late. He doesn't really have much of a choice. Kazza's still there. Kazza's still on the inside. A little bit of contact between the two. We've seen the inside line be beneficial on the exit of some of these corners, and it is again as the DVR9 of Mumu is up in the 6th.
Good little overtake there from Mumu. So we got 6th and 8th for Falcon. We've got 4th and 5th now for Millier. So a bit of a live standing update. Falcon is still 10 points behind FGR as it stands.
It's the point now that was an unbelievably necessary move.
And here's another one coming up. Syndra has to absolutely get Kazza in the next couple of corners.
Yeah, he might have to try and take this.
Well, there we go. That'll do it.
Isn't it? Yeah, that's going to make it easy. And that's just position handed to Falcon and Syndra there. And now the only chance of Syndra losing out of position here is if they get BX. Yeah, Kazza's still trying to hang it. You see him just popping a screen for a split second there. They go into turn 2. Kazza's going to look to the inside. Maybe not. Maybe a little bit too deep. And now he's going to be at the maybe at the mercy of BX through the next couple of corners.
Oh, Iggy's been in the walls again. He's dropped 2.5 seconds off this, but BX is really in the fight. So potentially could get another position here. Live standings, FGR have a 6-point lead in the championship currently.
6-point lead for FGR, so it's time for a little bit of a swing the opposite direction here for Falcon. If they're going to win, they're going to need something. They're going to need to break that gap, that 5-second gap that exists between Mumu and Millis right now. Has to start decreasing at quite some pace with the rest of this race still to come. BX just getting on the back of Kazza. He knows that Kazza's got a little bit worse tyres on. Should know by now with the way everyone's been pitting. That it is costing him chances at Syndra, and BX has been at the back of Syndra basically like the last 4 or 5 laps. So BX is aware that he could probably get that Falcon driver in front. He just needs to get himself in front of Kazza as soon as possible.
He does, but yeah, Kazza's completely dropped off the back of the Falcon boys now, so he's definitely lost a bit of pace on these softs that he had earlier on. Jakey seems to be doing a really solid job in 3rd place though. Well, just to say that, it looks like Rabak is completely caught up to him, and Milius is there as well.
Also look like they just gained a 1/10 of a second on Mumu again, so that gap has still not come below 5 seconds for now. Yeah, this should be an advantage. Rabak, I got a little bit closer than what maybe necessary, but he's going to go for this in this back straight. He doesn't really have a choice. Millis might be forced into the same move, depending on how well they can exit this corner. This right-hander is going to have to bring some pretty good exits. And now the slipstream is going to bring the GTR into this, and the Genesis X's straight line speed as well. If Jakey can hang on to one of these positions, it might be damaging to FGR, but if he can't, then FGR are going to have some clean runs. Let's see what Rabak can do. Rabak now pulls to the inside. Millis is looking as well. Millis just maybe too far back. He might have to try and follow through the hole. If I was Millis, I'd be looking through that hole that I just created for a split second with Rabak, and he doesn't take it. But Rabak does get past Jakey, and now that might open up a little bit of a gap here between the two FGR drivers. And if that happens, then the teamwork...
Oh, Jakey's off.
Potential teamwork. Yeah,
actually didn't impact him at all, strangely enough. He'll have a little bit of dirty tyres. Oh, he gets a half second, and Milius is just going to try and take advantage of it as we go through the last 2 corners of the lap. Milius up into 4th now.
Got him. Yeah, that was just a split-second mistake there by Jakey, and it's lucky for FGR there, because Jakey had the power and the willpower. He would have stopped Millis for miles.
Yeah. so that's absolutely massive. Jakey's coming in anyway. He's out of fuel. So it's basically as we were at the start of the race somehow. 3 FGR drivers in the top 4 and 1 Falcon driver in P2. So the Falcon guys both benefit one position there with the pit stop. So now it is 585 for Feel Good Racing and 579 for Falcon. The gap is once again 6 points.
I would like to also point out the gap is still increasing, not decreasing. It was 5.2 the last time we saw it at the bridge. It's now 5.5.
Yeah.
So this is not good news for Falcon. The more this goes the opposite direction, the potentially, if they just go onto the same tyre here at the final stop, which is coming up for FGR in a lap or two's time, that 5-second gap should not be catchable. No, I don't think.
Potentially. We'll have to see how these cars perform around here on the mediums, though.
That is true. I have a funny feeling, though. There is a gut feeling telling me that FGR are about to go to another soft stint. That's my gut feeling right now. And if they do on the end of lap 18 go to soft stint to the end of 24, they're going to have to put in some lightning laps.
Ahmed seems to think that it'll be 10 on the mediums to the end. Jakey's on the softs again with another half-second penalty. He's going to have to make another pit stop. Kaza on the softs again with half a tank. He's another one who's going to make another pit stop before the end. So they are definitely doing a forced stop.
Yeah, bear in mind they started on the medium tyres, so they don't have to use their mediums at mediums at any other point from now. That
here we go.
Has shrunk from 2.2 to 7/10.
And we're in slipstream range.
It seems to be the same between these two the entire way. Unfortunately for Jensen, that's a super in front of him.
Yeah.
So being this far as slipstream range doesn't mean an awful lot. But yeah, it's the same way between these two. Aura gets the undercut, Aura gets himself a little bit of a gap, and then Jensen has to claw it back. He has been doing it fairly successfully up to this point, but Aura still had the advantage. And that's the difference at this point in time with, what, 11 to go. Or 11 and some change to go for these two. It is anybody's game, this. This is still... We're going to have to figure out what the strategy they're going to be, and we're going to get an answer at the end of lap 18, obviously, as to how the rest of this race is going to shake out. But this is anyone's game, realistically. Raback and Millis have actually switched positions during all of this, so they're third and fourth still, but it's now Millis in third, Raback in fourth.
Yeah, the gap's down to 4 seconds, though.
Yeah, maybe they took each other... a chunk out of each other there, and they didn't really mean to. Yeah,
one of them definitely lifted so the other one could overtake, so that is probably a little bit of it, but Yumi was looking hugely quick here. He's just chunked another half second out of Raback's time. So it's starting once again to come back to the Falcon boys, who should be quicker, because they did pit later than the FGR team.
But we also know that they have... Well, Jensen in particular has slightly worse tyre wear than the rest of the group, so...
This is true. But he is very close now.
He's a lot closer, but he isn't going to get it here. He's not close enough to get this down into turn 3. And if he is, he's going to have to do one hell of a dive bomb. Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen here. He has managed to cut that gap down yet another half-tenth. That didn't look too great on the exit there. Maybe a little bit too much of a swan neck. But, yeah, it's just cutting in now. We're going to see when they pit at the end of this lap. Jensen might be ever so slightly ahead of Aura, but that gap where Jensen had a couple of seconds at the end of the second pit stops for them, that gap's not going to exist.
Yeah.
So whilst it is coming back to Jensen each time, that overall gap is just eking further and further for Aura, and that is becoming a little bit interesting, depending on what the strategy call is here for Aura and FGR.
Yeah, it's interesting. Jensen seems to have so much grip. If he can get him on this lap, then I think it's going to tip a little bit more into Jensen's favour, because, like you said, Aura might need to make 2 more stops, or he might just do the one and do a longer medium stint. If he does that, he's going to get the undercut on Jensen potentially again. Yeah. But Jensen's got a few more laps to do on these softs. Look, he's still got a quarter of a tank, so that's at least 2 more compared to Aura, who's definitely pitting this lap.
Yeah, Jensen's going to 20, that's for certain. Aura's pitting this lap. And the interesting situation about this is that at the same point in the last stint, it was 1.6 seconds advantage Jensen's direction.
Yeah, true.
It is now in the same position on the following stint, 4/10 advantage Aura going into the back straight here. Aura's obviously struggling a little bit more, and that's fairly evident with the lines through the corners.
Oh,
the one move
now this
there,
is going to be close at the end of the end of the straight here.
It is really close here. If Aura can hold this lead into his pit stop, that just it gives you an idea, right, of that 1.6 second difference of the stint.
Ooh, is he got into a bit of a half move?
It was half-arsed at best there for Jensen. And yeah, he doesn't get it. And Aura should coast to his pit stop in the lead of this race. And we just take a little bit of another twist in the tail, potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be another question. Is he going to come out in any traffic? Because there's 25 seconds. But he is going to have to put in, if he's going to the end, 10 laps worth of fuel. Which is about 3/4 of a tank, I think.
Remote, do you see a remote disconnected for a split second there? Apologies. But yeah, the bigger question is, I think, whether or not Aura's coming out on soft. I don't know whether or not that was a little bit of contact there, giving Aura.
No, it looks like a bit of a, just a bit of a dodgy corner.
But yeah, the real big question we have to answer right now is it soft?
Is it soft? How much fuel is he putting in? If he's putting in
49, he's another set. If it's 49, it's another set of softs. He'll do another 6 and then do 4 on the mediums. If it's higher than that, then we can safely assume it'll be a medium tyre going on that car.
He needs to put on mediums at some point still.
In comes Millis and Rabak as well. They do still need to, as you said, mediums have to be ran at some point. Yeah, it's mediums. It's mediums. It's 82% fuel going into the car.
You're absolutely right. He's going to the end. Meanwhile, Syndra and his teammate are very close together. BX actually goes through against Aura as well. So Aura out in P5. Maybe won't come under any pressure.
How much fuel has BX got? Because that's going to be indicated.
BX will be in this lap.
So he's not going to run into any traffic.
What about the other
apart from
guys?
Potentially the 2 drivers that he's currently fighting in terms of on the team that he's currently fighting. Rabak and Miller's come out together 2 seconds away, and they're not really in a fight with anybody themselves.
They've all got clear air. They've all got clear air, so that's great news for FGR in terms of how the pit strategy is working out. Now it's over to Jensen, who's going to do this lap and probably another one before going on to his medium. So again, at the end of the race, he's going to have tyre advantage, but it's going to be a much longer stint on the mediums.
It's going to be the undercut. Yeah, it's going to be how much time is Aura going to get on the undercut. These are very one-soft versus the medium, bone-fresh medium tyres at this point.
Yeah.
So, quite frankly, it's going to be a case of how much that undercut works here for Aura, because he will need a little bit of a gap. He will have worse tyres come the end of this, so he will need a gap to work with. And if he can get himself enough of a gap to work with, he might steal the win here. It's been Jensen's effectively the entire way, in terms of tyres being in a better position on his tyres, being in a better position with fuel. But that doesn't mean anything if you can't charge down the gap from the guy in front.
Absolutely. And will Aura even be able to catch BX here? Because the gap is... He's only gained, what, 2/10 since he's come out the pits. He is on mediums. He had to warm them up around here as well. So, yeah, it's potentially not going to come under any pressure with BX. And then he's got the other 2 guys who are doing another lap after this one. Potentially getting in the way. Because... yeah, Jensen's going to stay out for another one as well. So they could, again, think about playing the team game here, but they still need to fight with FGR with the other 2.
I was about to bring that point up and ask the question myself, whether or not, if you are potentially Syndra anyway, and you think you're going to lose out to Millis and to Rabak, which has been the way so far, it's 5 seconds, obviously, the gap the last time we checked, it was 3.5 actually.
Yeah.
If that is the case, you think you're going to lose that battle, do you just slow Aura down a tiny bit? Just to make sure that Jensen gets a close enough shot at this.
You'd have to sacrifice one of the drivers. So that would be probably Syndra, who's currently in 3rd. It would be a bit harsh for him to just suddenly start backing off. He'd have to lose a position to BX as well, who's going to get an undercut done on them. Oh, no, sorry.
In comes Jensen. Wait, this lap?
Jensen's trying to cover off Aura here.
Oh, that's early. You're right. That is early. That's earlier than we thought. For certain, we thought he was going an extra lap. So it's 9 laps on the medium tyres for Jensen. He's got worse tyre wear than Aero, we would like to point out. So this becomes a lot more interesting.
Well, he might come out near his teammates. He'll just let him pass straight away.
In comes Mumu.
Oh, they're all coming in. And BX is in as well, so it's going to be a drag race between Jensen.
Jensen's there. Aura's in the background somewhere.
Can see him in the distance.
Well ahead.
Yeah, he's going to close the gap up to this next braking point. But that has worked out fantastically for Jensen. Mediums to the end.
It is mediums, and it is potentially a lot less fuel as well.
Oh!
Aura! Just dropping the car.
That was close.
Probably the closest we've seen anyone deal with at the moment. But that, with the fuel difference, yeah, that is huge. Didn't think it'd be that big, admittedly. And Millis has got himself out in front of Mumu, who has jumped Rabak, by the way.
So this is all a little bit...
Rabak just got Syndra. You want to go back and see the gap a little bit further back.
Well, there's absolutely no gap between Mumu, Rabak and Syndra by the looks of it. Well. And BX is out in 8th. Millis is in 4th. Just trying to do these standings, so we've got 4th and 6th. 2nd, 4th and 6th.
You can tack on an extra position as well, because we know Jakey and we know Jakey has to pit. Jakey does still have to pit, so he will give up those positions.
But that'll be even for both of the teams, because he's ahead of an even number of them. Yeah. And he'll drop behind them. So we got Milius, and we got 5th and 7th. So at the moment, it is massively in Falcon's favour, with them retaking the lead of the race. 581 for Falcon, 567 for FGR. So FGR have to get some overtakes done.
It's back to 14, and so everything now.
Yeah, back to 14 again.
Everything is going to hinge on all we're willing in this race at this point. Because Millis has done what he needed to. He's got himself in front of both. Rabak needs to get Mumu as well. That'll be a massive point swing, getting them back towards that single point digit, and then that'll give Aura the chance. Because no one's going to get past his lap now. Jensen will.
Yeah,
Jensen has
the fastest lap's done.
Unless an ERA driver's going to nick at the end.
Yeah, or like someone like Iggy might try at the very end, but that's a very quick lap. I'm not sure anyone can beat it anyway on pace, even with low fuel.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. That is, I don't know. I think it would make this a lot more interesting if the ERA were able to snatch it right at the end here, that fastest lap, bring it 4 points close. It'll be 10.
Yep.
If Rabak can get something on Mumu here, and then they can swing that back, and then it'll be what?
Then they just need maybe one more position, It
will just be a case of there wouldn't be any more positions to gain. It would have to be Aura. The entire race would hinge on that fight for first.
Well, let's just stick with this one, because it looks like Rabak's got a great run on Mumu, and he's going defensive into the corner very early on. We've got still a little bit before the braking zone. He's gonna
now. They're going to see this a little bit nice for Mumu.
Great defending.
A little bit of a switchback opportunity here for Rabak. Doesn't get it. And all of a sudden, that was a good shot. That was a good shot for Rabak. He's gone, missed it. That's one opportunity squandered.
It looks like he'll have some more though. It seems like Rabak's got great pace compared to Mumu right now.
It's going to be I was about to bring up the point is how many more is he going to get? We've been talking about it. We talked about it at the end of last season with Tobias and Syndra as well, didn't we, at Monza? Where you have to take the opportunities while you have them, because as soon as you start playing around, it will come back to bite you quite quickly. As it did last season for Syndra in the end, who might be on the opposite end of this one this time round. But yeah, Mumu, Rabak's got to get this done.
He might get a chance. If he gets a good exit out of this hairpin, very, very tricky corner, really easy to just drive into the wall there. Aura nearly lost it there. Rabak nearly lost it there, and that is going to... No, it won't. I thought Syndra might be a little bit closer than that, but he's struggling to keep up with the pace of these two at the moment, a little bit, just a tiny bit.
If Rabak is able to split that gap we might have something we hadn't potentially encountered for here. And that's a Project Platypus that's within half a second, or was within half a second of Syndra.
He still is within half a second of Syndra.
We haven't quite encountered for that yet.
Oh, never mind. Never mind. Oh, no.
That is commentator's curse at its finest, isn't it?
Deary me.
I hadn't seen that in a long time. BX spins it, and well, you can forget about that sentence.
He was doing pretty good there as well, but yeah, he's lost that position to Iggy, who's got a 3-second penalty from somewhere, probably from the pits. No, he can't have. He pit a few laps ago. Maybe, no, I don't know. Kaz has got himself a half-second penalty as well, so it's all going wrong for everyone back here. Matty's 14 seconds off BX. That might be about to come down.
All of a sudden, if you are Syndra, I think if you were in the party with Syndra right now, you might have just heard the biggest single sigh of relief from a human being ever.
Absolutely. So Mumu's extended.
Nothing to worry about.
Yeah, Mumu's extended the gap by over a second to Rabak now at the crucial part of the track. Rabak might. Well, he's got to get back in the slipstream because Syndra's still in his slipstream, and now that he's not going to be under any pressure from anyone behind him, because he's got 6.6 to Kaza, who is on the softs, but with the half-second penalty and with half-one softs and with another pit stop coming, is going to probably drop out the top 10 at this point.
The interesting scenario now, go to Jakey real quick. They're not going to go to Jakey, so he's 11 seconds ahead of Millis.
11 ahead of Millis.
He has to pit. And there has to be soft tyres going on that car. It's going to be about 4 or 5 laps of soft tyres.
He's 17 ahead of Syndra. So he's definitely going to be behind the top 6. He's going to drop to 7th place here, I think, Jakey, when he comes in.
On softs. He'll be on softs.
He'll be on softs, yeah. He'll be massively quicker. Potentially, Jakey or Kaza could, in theory, get the fastest lap as well. Although his fastest lap's a 27.1, so I don't think so.
I'm more thinking that maybe not the fastest lap point at this point. He might steal the points off of Syndra. Or potentially the back. Syndra's gone! Syndra's dropped down a place!
Oh!
Syndra's in the wall!
My god, he's got engine damage.
Oh, and he can't get the car
the right way. He's dropped to 10th so far. Matty's miles behind, but he's still got engine damage. But here comes Matty. He's going to take him. Look, there's Syndra, going incredibly slow.
He's dropped 3 positions. He might be about to drop a 4th. Here comes Matty. Who's going to
Matty doesn't realise he's got engine damage. Yeah, okay. He's just swooped around, realising right at the last second that Syndra was going massively slow. Perry is a little bit further behind. Syndra doesn't have any damage anymore, so that puts Syndra down to 11th. Now, what does that do?
That's just dropped him 4 places on double points. And I think your 14-point gap may have just been completely eroded.
So he's down from 7th to 11th. Everyone else is still in the same spot. FGR have a 2-point lead. FGR have a 2-point lead as it stands. But Jakey still has to pit. Kaza still has to pit. Syndra could recover a little bit here.
I don't think he
But Matty's not going to want to let him go past. Matty's joining FGR next season.
I was about to say, so this is initiation here for Matty.
This is his trial run.
But more to the point, Jakey won't drop behind Syndra here. He's too far back. Kaza will, so he'll gain 1 position, but Kaza will be back on the softs. So what will 10th do to the group?
Whew.
What will 10th do to the standings? How much will the
10th?
Then?
The difference between 11th and 10th, if he gets 1 position before the end, that puts Falcon 2 points in the lead. So basically, how can Syndra recover from here?
Oh, bear in mind, Jakey also will have to take. You'll have to take Jakey's points away from him, move everyone up.
Jakey, yeah, right? Jakey, and yeah, this is the thing that's going to confuse everything. Jakey and Kaza are pitting at the end of this lap, so it'll become a lot more clear. These are the last pit stops of the race for the ERA guys. When they come out, we will know where the ground lies and what needs to be done. Rabak's still 1.1 behind Mumu. Milius completely on his own in P4 now, so it looks like that'll become P3 and wrap up the podium. Double podium for FGR. Orith still 3.7 behind Jensen. I don't think...
Game over that. That's game over that mistake there.
There's a long way to go, but yeah, it's not looking good in terms of the race win, which is the crucial thing for both of these teams to need to get tonight.
Wow.
And it's the same people that we've seen for over half the season now. Jensen and Aero going head to head for the race win.
It was the crucial thing. And then we saw one commentator's curse give Sindra the biggest sigh of relief, and I think it may have actually given him a little bit of complacency as well, because he then dropped it.
Potentially. Potentially.
It might have backfired. Unintentionally, obviously, backfired, but Jesus, there's so many twists in the tail. We thought it might just be certain positions between the teams, but a drop of the ball that massive from Sindra, oh, that might be the nail in the coffin on its own.
Oh, I don't think it's done yet. I think there's going to maybe be one or two more things that happen here that are going to swing the pendulum again, but...
Oh, this is we're going grandstand finish here, lads.
Yeah,
we promised it. We promised it. And we're delivering. Here comes Jakey into the pits. It is going to deliver. We are grandstand. It is going to be a grandstand finish here, all the way to the end. Any mistake from here on out could swing the pendulum the other way. We'll see whether or not Rabak has a position in him as well, because Mimu now has to keep that position. That's not a debate. That has to be defended like his life depends on this.
Let's see if Jakey comes out ahead of BX, but Jakey out in 6th, so crucially that gives FGR 2 positions, and it only gives well, you've got Iggy there 4 seconds behind BX, and BX is 2 seconds behind Jakey. Sindra still trying to catch Matty here.
He hasn't done it very effectively. How far ahead of Kaza is he? Jakey's 13 seconds off of Rabak with 5 laps to go. I don't see that being caught.
That's quite a big gap. Right, okay. Now everything's settled.
Kaza?
Let's have a quick... Kaza? Where's Kaza? He's down in 11th.
Oh, half-second penalty for Matty. 7 seconds off the back of Sindra. So
yeah, that's not good.
Seconds, so that'll bring him back. So
Kaza could potentially get P9 here.
He could. Oh, this is gonna. You know how you said there might be a couple of twists in the tail.
I told you. I told you.
There definitely is a couple of twists in the tail still to come here, and it isn't coming at the front. Jensen's just driving away.
So Falcon are currently 1st. They are 4th, and they are 10th now.
Oh,
FGR
7.6 seconds is what we've got to look at.
2nd, 3rd, and
10th.
5th. All 3 FGR drivers in the top 5. And FGR, as it stands, there needs to be overtakes now, because 575 for FGR, 573 for Falcon. There is 2 points. It's 2 points, so it is really, what can Sindra do here with Matty's half-second penalty? Can he overtake Matty really quickly? Because that would put him in 9th, and that would put Falcon once ahead in the standings.
You've also got to figure out the fact that Kaza's going to be right onto the softs. He's going to be closing that time down, so it might not even be in Sindra's hands anymore. It depends how well this Kaza's going to do the next 5 laps. Matty's obviously got his penalty, so that's going to be Lamborghini versus Gen X. Quite frankly, I don't see Matty holding that. I think that's going to be handed straight to Sindra. So the issue now lies with ERA, and we know that ERA and FGR have had a few incidents with each other this season. That's a that's a bad turn for Matty, so any chance of him holding that position prior has just been thrown out of the window there, so this will be Sindra's place straight away.
Here we go. He's massively cut the gap anyway, even without the penalty. Now with just 8 tenths of a second, this is going to be one-way traffic, surely.
Also, you got to remember at the same time that Rabak is also going after Mumu as well. That gap's not too big, and there goes Sindra up ahead of Matt.
Yeah.
So Sindra now has the position that they need to take the lead in the championship.
Yeah, Falcon ahead.
Yellow flag! Yellow flag! Who is the yellow flag? It's BX! Oh, that might bring Sindra back to BX.
Here he comes. The gap's dropped to less than 5 seconds there. Actually, it continues to drop because BX has damage.
Matty's coming back at Tinder, by the way. That gap.
Matty's got another half second.
Oh my Jesus Christ, Matty! We're trying to make things interesting here. Stop getting penalties.
So, where is Rabak then? Rabak has a half second as well.
Oh, they're slowly
This is
but surely
that is a
throwing
brutal half second penalty, and Jakey's only 11 seconds behind Rabak at the moment.
And
So
sudden,
it's looking a little bit precarious now, even though they're all in the top 5.
all of a sudden, they now need the help of they now need the help of Kata. It's realistically the only person close enough to make any damage here. Or, for a miracle to happen between Rabak and Mumu, Jakey's gonna have to do some damage.
Jakey doing really well here. He's cutting into Rabak's lead pretty substantially. So where is Kaza? Kaza's only 5.8 behind Matty, but you'd have to overtake Matty and then Jakey as well, who's a little bit further up.
That gap is shortened, by the way, in all of this. It was 7.6.
Yeah, it was.
It's not that anymore.
And look how quick he's going. Quarter of a second purple at the moment.
If it keeps that, bear in mind you take the 4 points off of thing and give him the ERA, and it'll be back to a 2-point advantage to FGR if he was to somehow steal that fastest lap.
This is true.
Improbable, but nonetheless still doable.
He'd have to beat his qualifying time.
By quite some margin.
Pole was a 25 flat, and we're on a 25.3. So you have to get. You'd have had to be as quick as Aura and Jensen were in qualifying, basically, to beat this. Syndra's struggling a little bit, it looks like. Matty's looking really good around this section.
The penalty, bearing in mind, we still have to bring up the fact that the FGR in Matty's name is what you're going to be driving it, team he's driving in next season.
Yeah.
So, if Matty is somehow able to bring this back before the penalty, he can play a little bit more.
It's not long before the penalty, that's the problem.
Yeah, still enough of a turn. He's got the bridge here, remember? So a good exit right out of this chicane is enough to potentially fire himself into a position for an overtake. He doesn't get it.
No, he doesn't get it.
A good exit in any way, shape or form there, actually. And Kaza's going to chunk that time even further. It's now just over 5 seconds with 4 laps to go. Oh, this is going to be all over the place. The straight line speed isn't going to be an issue. Quite frankly, Matty will be easy to pass in a straight line if Kaza gets to him. Bear in mind that Matty's about to lose another second or two to Kaza to bring him back into that fight.
2 half-second penalties in a row, really messing with Matty's strategy here. BX, even though he had a spin, still in 8th. So he's been in the wars, and Syndra's been in the wars. They're pretty close together, but BX still ahead.
Yeah, cleared him at the moment. He's not good. We've not got any more issues without a spin from BX. Jakey got within 6 seconds of Rabak, but I think that still might be too little, too late.
If he's 2 seconds a lap quicker, he'll catch Rabak before the end.
He'll be right at the end, yeah.
Rabak's now 4 seconds behind Mew Mew.
Oh, he dropped. Yeah, the penalty.
Yeah.
Rabak had the penalty in this lap, remember. So that's. Oh, was that Miller Swift? I mean, not actually as close as the camera suggested.
No.
In this one. So what is the gap now between in this massive battle that we're seeing forming between Sainte and company? So that's what we've got to hinge on everything on right now.
Syndra's 3.4 behind BX.
So that's not going to be much of an issue without another spin. He's 1.9 ahead of Matty, 2.4 ahead of Kaza. So that is what?
4.2. 4.2.
That gap is hard. That gap is going so much smaller every single corner. It was 5 the last time we checked it. Oh, this is going to be this is what it's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah, Kaza just setting his quickest lap at 26.6 compared to Matty's 30, compared to Syndra's 29. So Kaza definitely can catch them if he can keep up that pace. Jakey 26.2, so similar to Kaza in terms of pace. Rabak 30. Mew Mew in the 28s, so yeah, he could potentially catch Rabak, potentially not catch Mew Mew. And Syndra
we'll see how that goes.
Might be under pressure a little bit from Kaza if Kaza could take Matty in the next lap or two without any trouble, yeah.
This is going to be huge. The real question is how much FGR on the phone right now, and Matty just telling him to get out the fucking way. which is incredible because we've seen throughout the season, right, that FGR and ERA in particular have not been the best of threats. And now the entire championship potentially hinges on an ERA driver overtaking a Falcon driver for FGR to win the championship.
I don't know.
And that is mind-blowing to me through this entire season.
Sod's law, isn't it? Matty going a little bit wide through there has allowed Kazza to get within a second for the first time now. So what is going to happen here? Matty will be a bit disappointed to be in P10, I reckon. And he's struggling again. Almost going onto the grass on the exit there. That's going to give Kazza a real run at Matty in the next straight that we're about to get to. Yeah, he's in the Supra as well, just to give him even more of a boost.
I was about to say, he should blow right by Matty here. This should not be an issue. And anything you were saying about Matty being a difficult obstacle to overtake is about to disappear into thin air. And then it'll give him 3 laps. 3 laps at Syndra. Which could play a massive role.
Oh dear.
Matty in the wall! Matty in the wall! And any chance of any sort of defence now is definitely
He's got damage
dead.
as well.
He got damage. And there goes Kazza.
That was the easiest overtake of the night.
Now is a free shot.
3.6 now. What can he do? 3.5 seconds with 2.5 laps left.
3.5 laps left.
3.5 laps left, sorry, can't count. It's been a long race.
They're on lap 20, they're on to lap 25.
Start to get delirious at the hour and a half mark.
I was about to say, we're about to head into the sunset. We aren't too far away from what should be 10:55 in game, which is pretty much exactly as I wanted it to be. But yeah, a little bit, we're sunsetting on the season here, and we're going right to the end. Right to the wire, with everything on the line. And a massive spoiler to potentially be played here. What about, on this note, while we see 3.3 right now between Syndra and Kazza, what is the gap between Jake and... It's effectively the same thing. It's effectively, they're in the same, they're almost in identical positions.
Yep, they are. One of them's trying to catch an FGR and one of them's trying to catch a Falcon. So they could technically even themselves out.
Cancelling jump. Yeah, what about Mumu in here? What about fourth place?
He's all on his own at the moment.
Yeah, nothing happening there. Okay,
he's
so
in the 29s,
mistakes,
the same as Millis. They're lapping pretty much the same. 28s for Aura and 28s for Jensen as well, with a 5-second lead.
Without mistakes, the top 4 should end in the top 4, like as they are right now.
Yeah.
Which then leaves the question of how much of a spoiler are ERA going to play into this? These were the potential third team in the fight coming into today. Obviously couldn't field a third driver, and then Luger quitting out after qualifying didn't help. So their championship hopes died then. But they can still change who the championship goes to.
Absolutely.
With a couple of laps still to go in this race. It's absolutely insane. We've been going for 8 weeks. We've gone through all but 2 full double points races now. And it's going to come down to lap 28 of 28 around Sainte Croix.
I feel like
it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to pivot on this battle between BX, who's 1.8 only ahead of Syndra, who is 2.6 only ahead of Kazza on the softs. BX also on the mediums there. So what's going to happen? Is Syndra going to be able to catch BX, or is Kazza going to be able to catch Syndra? Are we going to see Syndra gain or lose any positions? If he loses positions, he loses the championship for Falcon here.
Oh, he's gonna want the. He thought his mistake about the fuel at Bathurst in Aero was bad. I think he might be about to top it if he drops off for the back of Kazza here.
No, that mistake was way worse.
I don't know. This is costing a championship, literally the entire championship on the back of the mistake. Oh, it's gonna be one he's not gonna want to watch back. That's a certain.
He was doing so good as well beforehand. Worked his way up into what should have been a comfortable top 5.
The gap was 3.5 at the start of that. The gap is now 2.1. It's now 2 seconds. It's now under 2 seconds. With on lap 26, Kazza is closing it down.
Aura's in the pits.
He's
trying to get the fastest lap.
He's going for fastest lap.
Oh my god, this is so clever.
If he gets it, it's huge. If
This
he doesn't,
is insanely clever if he could do it. If he doesn't do it, he might drop behind Millis. He's got 29 seconds. He doesn't have to refuel. This is a short pit lane. He's going to be out in P2 comfortably. He's not lost anything here. He's going to try and get those 4 points.
There's no risk to this whatsoever. It is quite frankly, he realised he hadn't won the race. He can't beat Jensen without a mistake. So he'd gone for the next best thing. He'd got to take the 4 points away from Jensen. This is a clever, no-risk move whatsoever.
Oh my god.
What's happened? Oh,
no, nothing's happened. I'm just...
1.6 between Jakey and Rabak, by the way. What's the difference between Kaza and 1.6? They're still all but identical. It's 1.9 now. They're all but identical. It is incredible. We've just seen yet another twist of the tail. If Aura gets this 8-point swing, it won't matter what he already do, I don't think. It might actually go to... It might draw his level with the 2 overtakes.
If the fastest lap, if nothing else changes apart from the fastest lap, FGR have a 6-point lead in the championship, and that's what happens.
And then Jakey gets Rabak, swings it back to 2. I'm pretty sure I've done the maths correct with that.
If Jakey gets anybody, then they'll lose 4 points. Rabak will lose 4 points if he loses this position. So Rabak absolutely 100% needs to keep this. The gap is just 1 second now, and then down here the gap's still 1.7. So Kaza might not actually catch Syndra, and Syndra's not catching BX either. So what we want to do is stick with these guys
and keep an eye out on whether or not Aura is going to jump that 25.3.
Bear
in mind, Aura,
he'll have to do it on the last lap of the race.
I was about to say 25.0 was quite literally his pole time. He has it in him to do a lap like this, where he can steal it from that 25.3. And the real question now, if you're Jensen, it might actually be too late. Yeah, it's too late. It's too late for him to do the same. So
yeah, it is too late. This was perfectly calculated from Aura.
Aura, yeah, he's done a good job here. It's all now hinging on whether or not that fastest lap's going to switch hands. It's going to have to be one of the single best laps I think I've seen Aura do since he joined this server, and he has done a lot of them. But this would have to be arguably his best one, with a lot on the line towards the end of this race. The P2 doesn't even technically matter anymore. He will get it anyway. It is just that fastest lap. Rabak is defending for his life. He's going to have to do that for an entire another lap. He isn't going to be able to do it. And then we'll, again, switch the focus to that fastest lap.
Yep.
It is all or nothing, essentially, at this point. It is the last roll of the dice.
Here comes Jakey. Rabak defending the inside, not even letting him have a sniff at that inside line here. Jakey trying to go around the outside. Rabak releases this little bit of contact.
He's still
Jensen's pit now. He's going to try and stop him getting the fastest lap. Is he going to try and hold Aura up in his bid for getting the fastest lap here? That's the only reason that you'd come in.
But if you try to hold Aura up,
well, yeah, if he overtakes him, then it's over as well.
that would be dumb, and he's on the final lap, so it doesn't matter his lap time. So I think. Well,
let's see what he does. He's obviously got a 5-second. Well, actually, it's coming down. Let's see if he is actually going to be pushing on this lap, or if he's going to let Aura catch up to him. Aura is on his fastest lap now.
Oh, this is huge. This is absolutely huge. Rabak's still ahead of Jakey. This is absolutely huge on the final
almost
lap
3/10 purple in Sector 1.
Yeah, 3/10 purple.
Let's see what Jakey's up to just quickly. Yeah, still stuck behind Rabak.
What about Kaza with Syndra?
Kaza is, yeah, we don't need to focus on that one.
Yeah, he's not going to get it. Okay, so
here comes Jakey though.
There's 2 shots of this now. Well, Jakey should get Rabak. I don't think there's enough in the tank here for Rabak to hold this off. Rabak gone far too wide, gone far too narrow here. Can't really be can't see anything other than an
Jakey's still shut out there.
That's well defended from Rabak of all things.
The gap is 3 seconds. That's going to keep coming down, I think.
Yeah, Jensen's just going to get caught here by Aura more and more. The real question now is, oh, that's a little bit of a slide. Then this next sector mark. Where is his lap time? If it is purple through this section where he gets onto the bridge, we might have one hell of a lap. That's another slide from Aero. He might be just letting the nerd get to him just a little bit. It is literally the last roll of the dice. We know right now, I think it's a two-point advantage, is it not? Or something of that nature in the direction.
Gap's 2 seconds
Falcon.
now.
Falcon has the advantage at this point in time. This might be a controller.
Oh, he's not on for a fast. He's not purple.
It's not purple. It's not purple through the bridge. He might have botched this. He might have botched this and then need to win the race now. Raback is still ahead of Jakey in that crucial battle. That's not changed. Aura's gone a bit too narrow there.
Jensen's going a little bit too slow here. The gap's 1.3, a little bit slow coming out there. So yeah, again, still not purple. Jakey's still behind Raback here. Really close behind as well.
Raback's going to need an electric exit here.
Let's rejoin these guys, because this is where the key action is. There's 1 second now between them. Jensen just...
Oh! Jensen's slowing all the way down to try and hold Aura up. Has he done this correctly? If he loses the race from here, then this would have backfired to an almighty degree. Is he going to be able to hang on? Aura's got all the speed. Aura's got all the momentum. He's got a couple of corners to the end of this race. Jensen needs to hold on for dear life, because this has been calculated for now. But Aura is still trying. Aura is still fighting. He's still got the inside, but he's not going to be able to make the move right now with 2 corners to go. Jensen should control this. Aura to the inside. Oh, he almost looked from the camera angle there. He's going to go for that. He's still there. Jensen's got 1 corner to the line, 1 corner to defend. And I think Jensen's done just enough to protect the fastest lap, to protect his lead, and to the line. It will be Jensen who wins the race at Sainte Croix. Just about.
By half a second.
Just comes second. We're going to have to do the maths real quick. Millis is in third. You're going to have to do a live standing here, Ross.
It's still the same at the moment.
Yellow flag is obviously for Aura. Miller's coming to the line, gets to third. Raback held Jakey, by the way, so it's still Falcon. As if nothing happened. Mimu is in fourth. Raback is to the line. He's going to beat out Jakey. So now it all depends on Syndra. Everyone else has come to the line. They're all done. So what is going on with Syndra?
Syndra's caught BX.
Is Syndra going to be able to do anything? He has caught BX, and Kaz has dropped off the back behind Matty. Behind Matty as well. The Iggy's coming to the line in 7th. And if I've done the maths correctly, with Syndra coming over the line, it's going to be it. It's going to be enough.
Oh, he's out of fuel. BX is out of fuel. Syndra just gets another position just to double confirm it.
Just to confirm it anyway. And the champions are season 4. Ah, Falcon. Just about. They gave everything. Grandstand finish and all. But Falcon have just narrowly got to the line. A grandstand finish. Kaza couldn't do anything to spoil it. Jakey couldn't do anything to spoil it. Aura couldn't get the fastest lap. Jensen wins the race, and Falcon has, by the skin of their teeth, got over the line to win in season 4.
Don't know what happened to Owen, but he is in the pits there. So yeah, live standings. Oh well, not so much live now. The race is over. So we have, excuse me, 1st, 4th, and 8th for Falcon. Not a great final race for them, to be honest. Even though they won it, 4th and 8th for the other 2. 2nd, 3rd, and 5th for FGR. Falcon getting the fastest lap. FGR getting pole position. There is a 6-point gap. Falcon ends up winning by 6 points.
It was a better day at the office for FGR. Just not enough. Just short. Obviously, there may still be stewards or anything of the sort. Doubt it will be. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure anything will happen with Falcon. I didn't see any. Well, we don't see everything, but for what we saw, it looked all fairly normal from them.
What a race! What a grandstand finish! Syndra gets away with the almightiest of fumbles.
Yes.
And he gets himself 8th. BX ran out of fuel. Imagine if that's how that ended. But it wouldn't have played a factor in the end. In the end, Falcon do enough. Just about enough. But are crowned ESPORTS champions for season 4 here in ALR. What a end-to-end, wire-to-wire season. And I appreciate all of you guys joining us the entire way. Heartbreak for FGR, elation for Falcon. And that is how we're going to end it.
Yeah, big congratulations to Falcon. What an improvement from Season 2, where I think they finished 9th in the standings in Season 2. Then they got into the top 5 for the first time last season and did really strongly at the end, and now they've only gone and bloody won it. So there's the results for you.
Insane.
Jensen in first, Aura second, Miller's third, Mew Mew in fourth on his debut, Rabak in fifth. Then we have Jakey, Iggy, and Syndra in the top 8. BX, Matty, and Perry for Project Platypus 9, 10th and 11th. Then we had Kaza drop down to 12th with a strangely slow last lap, dropping all those positions. Fancy Locks 13th and Owen 14th. And then we didn't have a third ERA driver in the race. So yeah, that's it. The esports season has come to an end.
Yeah, that was almost the biggest brain move I've ever seen from Aura. If that had worked, that would have been one hell of an end to the season. That's just an end to the season. That is how we end it. That is how we do it.
Yeah.
What an advertisement for ALR. What a day. Well, with that being said,
yeah, join us next season when we'll have some more. So we're getting started in the middle of May next season. So if you are interested in racing, let us know in Discord, and we can sort something out. We've got plenty of time before the next season starts. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.